apparently the lens, it just came over. They wanted the lens wiped down.
said that several times. I'm like, why do I even have it? So it's like, fine. But then if I just say, right. Then if I just say, you know, give them that reason,
Hemeth Jr.,
Eldemiro Abad,
Marie Rose Abad,
Wait till they do their last name.
Andrew
That's their last
Anthony
name.
Abad,
Okay.
Vincent Paul Abate,
Lawrence Christopher Abel,
Alana Abraham,
William F. Abrahamson,
Richard Anthony Acito,
Heinrich Bernard Ackerman,
Paul Aquaviva,
Christian Adams,
Donald Leroy Adams,
Patrick Adams,
Shannon Lewis Adams,
Stephen George Adams,
Ignatius Udo Adanga,
Christy A. Adamo,
Terrence Edward Adderley Jr.,
Sophia B. Addo,
Lee Adler,
Daniel Thomas Aflito,
Emmanuel Akwazi Afwakwa,
Alak Agawel,
Mukul Kumar Agarwala,
Joseph Agnello,
David Scott Agnes,
Alberto Di Francesco Aguiar Jr.,
Brian G. Ahern,
Jeremiah Joseph Ahern,
Joanne Marie Aladiotis,
Sabir Ahmad,
Terrence Andre Aiken,
Godwin O. Ajala,
Trudy M. Alagero,
Andrew Alamino,
Margaret Ann Alario,
Gary M. Albero,
John Leslie Albert,
Peter Craig Alderman,
and my uncle, FDNY Battalion Chief Oreo Joseph Palmer.
and to my loving brother-in-law, Paul James Formato, who passed at an early age, as many have. And just as a reminder, his mother, his father, his brothers, his sisters, his nieces and nephews have never forgotten him. His memories live on every day. We never forgot QT, the Vero Beach, Easter, his living laugh, his love for life. We loved you dearly, and we missed you all. And peace to all of you who stand here today.
Jacqueline Delane Aldrich Frederick,
David D. Alger,
Ernest Alacacos,
Edward L. Allegretto,
Eric Allen,
Joseph Ryan Allen,
Richard Dennis Allen,
Richard L. Allen,
Christopher E. Allingham,
Anna S. W. Allison,
Janet Marie Alonzo,
Anthony Alvarado,
Antonio Javier Alvarez,
Victoria Alvarez Brito,
Telmo E. Alvier,
Caesar Amaranto Alviar,
Tariq Amanula,
Angelo Amaranto,
James M. Amato,
Joseph Amatuccio,
Paul W. Ambrose,
Christopher Charles Amoroso,
Craig Scott Amundsen,
Kazuhiro Ami,
Callisto Anaya Jr.,
Joseph P. Anchudia,
Kermit Charles Anderson,
Yvette Constance Anderson,
John Jack Andriacchio,
Michael Rourke Andrews,
Jean Ann Andrucki,
C. Nia Ang,
Joseph Angelini Sr.,
Joseph John Angelini Jr.,
David Lawrence Angel,
Mary Lynn Edwards Angel,
Laura Angeletta,
Doreen J. Angrisani,
Lorraine Antigua,
Seema David Ayoma,
and my brother-in-law, Peter Milano. Pete, you truly missed every single day. We love you. You're always in our hearts.
and our angel up in heaven, my brother, Police Officer Ronald Philip Klepfer.
Peter Paul Apollo,
Faustino Apostol Jr.,
Frank Thomas Aquilino,
Patrick Michael Araños,
David Gregory Arche,
Michael George Archinsky,
Louis Arena,
Barbara Jean Aristegui,
Adam P. Arias,
Michael J. Armstrong,
Jack Charles Aaron,
Joshua Todd Aaron,
Richard Avery Arena,
Myra Joy Aronson,
Japhet Jesse Array,
Carl Francis Asaro,
Michael A. Asiak,
Michael Edward Asher,
Janice Marie Ashley,
Thomas J. Ashton,
Manuel O. Asatimbe,
Greg A. Atlas,
Gerald Thomas Atwood,
James Audifred,
Louis F. Aversano Jr.,
Ezra Aviles,
Sandy Ayala,
Arlene T. Babakitis,
Eustace R. Bacchus,
John J. Badakliaka,
Jane Ellen Basler,
Robert J. Bearwalter,
Andrew J. Valley,
Brett T. Valley,
Garnet Ace Valley,
Tatiana Bapalinskaya,
Michael S. Bach,
Sharon M. Balcom,
Michael Andrew Bain,
Catherine Bantis,
and my brother-in-law, Salvatore T. Papasso. We miss you, we love you, and there's not a day that goes by that we don't think about you.
and my cousin, firefighter Michael Edward Roberts. I love you and miss you every day, Michael.
Gerald Baptiste,
Walter Barron,
Gerald A. Barbara,
Paul Vincent Barbaro,
James William Barbella,
Victor Daniel Barbosa,
Christine Jonah Barbudo,
Colleen Ann Barco,
David Michael Barclay,
Matthew Barnes,
Melissa Rose Barnes,
Sheila Patricia Barnes,
Evan J. Barron,
Renee Barrett Arjun,
Arthur Thaddeus Barry,
Diane G. Barry,
Maurice Vincent Barry,
Scott D. Bart,
Carlton W. Bartels,
Guy Barsby,
Ina B. Messina,
Alicia Christine Burton Basmajian,
Kenneth W. Posnitsky,
Stephen Joseph Bates,
Paul James Pataglia,
W. David Bauer,
Juan Luis Capria Bastia,
Marlon Capito Bautista,
Mark Lawrence Davis,
Jasper Baxter,
Lorraine G. Bay,
Michelle Beal,
Todd M. Beamer,
Paul Frederick Bettini,
Jane S. Beatty,
Alan Anthony Beaven,
Lawrence Ira Beck,
Minette Marie Beckles,
Carl John Beglia,
Michael Ernest Beekman,
and my brother Paul, firefighter Paul Hanlon Keating. Paul, mom and dad, your cousins, your brothers and sisters, your nieces and nephews, and all of your countless friends miss you every day.
and my uncle and godfather, Robert Michael Murak. You taught me so much about love and kindness growing up, and I miss it every day.
Maria A. Baer,
Max J. Bilkey,
Yelena Belilovsky,
Nina Patrice Bell,
Debbie S. Bellows,
Stephen Elliott Belson,
Paul M. Benedetti,
Denise Lenore Benedetto,
Brian Craig Bennett,
Eric L. Bennett,
Oliver Bennett,
Margaret L. Benson,
Dominic J. Berardi,
James Patrick Berger,
Stephen Hauer Berger,
John P. Bergen,
Alvin Bergson,
Daniel David Bergstein,
Graham Andrew Berkeley,
Michael J. Berkeley,
Donna M. Bernartz,
David W. Bernard,
William H. Bernstein,
David M. Barrett,
David Shelby Berry,
Joseph John Berry,
William Reed Bethke,
Inene Beetrue,
Timothy D. Betterly,
Carolyn Mayer Bug,
Edward Frank B.A.,
Paul Michael Bear,
Anil Tahilram Baravni,
Bella J. Bakan,
Shimi D. Biegalason,
Peter Alexander Bielfeld,
William G. Biggert,
Brian Eugene Bilcher,
Mark Bingham,
Carl Vincent Beanie,
and my father, Philip T. Guza. We miss you. We try to make you proud every day. We know you're looking down on Lincoln, Owen, and Katie.
and my uncle Michael Boyle. I wish I could meet you.
Gary Eugene Bird, Joshua David Birnbaum, George John Bishop, Chris Romeo Bashundat, Jeffrey Donald Bittner, Albert Baywa Blackman Jr., Christopher Joseph Blackwell, Carrie Rosella Blackburn, Susan Leigh Blair, Harry Blanding Jr., Janice Lee Blaney, Craig Michael Blass, Rita Blau, Richard Milton Blood Jr., Michael Andrew Bacardi, John Paul Bucky, Michael L. Bocchino, Susan M. Bocchino, Dara Francis Bodley, Bruce Douglas Bohm, Mary Catherine Murphy Bofa, Nicholas Andrew Bogdan, Darren Christopher Bohan, Lawrence Francis Boiseau, Vincent M. Boland Jr., Tori Hamzavi Balorchi, Alan Bondarenko, Andre Bonheur Jr., Colin Arthur Bonnet, Frank J. Bonamo, Yvonne Lucia Bonamo, Sean Booker Sr., Kelly Ann Booms, Canfield D. Boone, Mary Jane Booth, Sherry Ann Bordeaux, Christine Bordenabe, Jerry J. Borg, Martin Michael Borshevsky, Richard Edward Bosco, and my uncle, Firefighter Salvatore Benedetto Calabro. We miss you and we love you. God bless you. And my grandfather, Richard P. Micho. We all love you and miss you at home. Grandma Joyce misses you more and more every day.
Klaus Botte,
Carol Marie Bouchard,
J. Howard Bolton,
Francisco Eligio Bordier,
Thomas Harold Bolden Jr.,
Donna M. Bowen,
Kimberly S. Bowers,
Veronique Nicole Bowers,
Larry Bowman,
Sean Edward Bowman Jr.,
Kevin L. Bowser,
Gary R. Box,
Gennady Boyarsky,
Pamela Boyce,
Alan P. Boyle,
Michael Boyle,
Alfred J. Braca,
Sandra Conati Brace,
Kevin Hugh Bracken,
Sandy Wa Bradshaw,
David Brian Brady,
Alexander Berginski,
Nicholas W. Brandemarty,
Daniel Raymond Brandhurst,
David Reed Gamboa Brandhorst.
Michelle Renee Bratton.
Patrice Brout.
Lydia Estelle Bravo.
Ronald Michael Breitweiser.
Edward A. Brennan III.
Frank H. Brennan.
Michael E. Brennan.
Peter Brennan.
Thomas Moore Brennan.
Daniel J. Brethel.
Gary Lee Bright.
Jonathan Eric Bailey.
Mark A. Brisman.
Paul Gary Bristow.
Marion R. Britton.
And I'd like to dedicate this short poem to my brother. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there, I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. For my brother Michael Angel Trinidad.
And my cousin Melissa Candida Doy. We are so blessed to have you as an angel, and we're just empty without you. We love you very much.
Mark Francis Broderick.
Herman Charles Brockhammer.
Keith A. Broomfield.
Bernard C. Brown II.
Janice J. Louise Brown.
Lloyd Stanford Brown.
Patrick John Brown.
Bettina B. Brown Radburn.
Mark Bruce.
Richard George Bruhert.
Andrew Broom.
Vincent Edward Brunton.
Ronald Buka.
Brandon J. Buchanan.
Greg J. Buck.
Dennis Buckley.
Nancy Claire Boucher.
Patrick Joseph Boos.
John Edward Bulaga Jr.
Stephen Bruce Bunin.
Christopher L. Burford.
Matthew J. Burke.
Thomas Daniel Burke.
William Francis Burke Jr.
Charles F. Burlingame III.
Thomas E. Burnett Jr.
Donald J. Burns.
Kathleen Ann Burns.
Keith James Burns.
John Patrick Burnside.
Irina Buslow.
Milton G. Bastillo.
Thomas M. Butler.
Patrick Dennis Byrne.
Timothy G. Byrne.
Daniel M. Caballero.
Jesus Neptali Cabezas.
Lillian Caceres.
Brian Joseph Katia.
Stephen Dennis Cafiero Jr.
And to my brother, Michael Wittenstein. Michael, we miss you. Not a day goes by that you're not thought about, and you're in our prayers. We know you're up there watching over us, and you would definitely be proud of how your nieces and nephews are growing up, and they share some of the qualities that you've left us with, and we miss you every day.
And my father, firefighter Michael J. Lyons. I think about you every day, and it's really hard to go on without you. We love and miss you.
Richard Michael Caggiano.
Cecile Maria Caglico.
John Brett Cahill.
Michael John Cahill.
Scott Walter Cahill.
Thomas Joseph Cahill.
George C. Kane.
Salvatore B. Calabro.
Joseph M. Calandrillo.
Philip V. Calcagno.
Edward Calderon.
Jose O. Calderon Almeida.
Kenneth Marcus Caldwell.
Dominic E. Kalia.
Felix Bobby Caliste.
Francis Joseph Callahan.
Liam Callahan.
Suzanne M. Cali.
Gino Luigi Calvi.
Rocco Camaj.
Michael F. Camarata.
David Otay Campbell.
Jeffrey Thomas Campbell.
Robert Arthur Campbell.
Sandra Patricia Campbell.
Sean Thomas Canavan.
John A. Candela.
Vincent A. Cangelosi.
Stephen J. Cangelosi.
Lisa Bella Canava.
Brian Canisato.
Michael R. Canty.
Louis Anthony Caparici.
Jonathan Neff Capello.
James Christopher Cappers.
Richard Michael Caproni.
Jose Manuel Cardona.
Dennis M. Carey Sr.
Edward Carlino.
Michael Scott Carlo.
And my brother-in-law, Morton Howard Frank. Every day, your handsome face and beautiful smile reminds me to stay strong and keep fighting. We love you and miss you terribly.
And my father, William E. Spitz. Dad, you're missed every day. Nate, Brody, and Libby never got to meet you, but we know that you're watching over them, and we love you.
David G. Carlone.
Rosemary C. Carlson.
Mark Stephen Kearney.
Joyce Ann Carpenetto.
Jeremy Kaz Carrington.
Michael T. Carroll.
Peter J. Carroll.
James Joseph Carson, Jr.
Christopher Mikhail Karstingen.
Angeline C. Carter.
James Marcel Cartier.
Sharon Ann Carver.
Vivian Castledouche.
John Francis Casaza.
Paul Regan Cassio.
Neely Ann Heffernan Casey.
William Joseph Cashman.
Thomas Anthony Casoria.
William Otto Casper.
Alejandro Castano.
Arcilia Castillo.
Leonard M. Castriano.
Jose Ramon Castro.
William E. Caswell.
Richard G. Cattarelli.
Christopher Sean Caton.
Robert John Caulfield.
Mary Teresa Caulfield.
Judson Cavalier.
Michael Joseph Cawley.
Jason David Kane.
Juan Armando Sabalas.
Marcia G. Cecil Carter.
Jason Michael Cefalu.
Thomas Joseph Selleck.
Anna Mercedes Centeno.
Joni Sesta.
John J. Chata.
Jeffrey Mark Chernoff.
Swarna Chalasani.
And my precious daughter, Suzanne Rose Kondratenko. She was the light of my life.
And my husband, firefighter William Edward Krakowski. Bill and I, our families, make sure no one will ever forget you. And for those we meet that never knew you, they know you now. To all the first responders, thank you for keeping our families safe. We pray for your safety every day. To the 9/11 families I have met through the years, the immediate bond we all have creates one big family, and I pray for peace in the hearts of all of you. God bless the first responders, God bless all of you, and God bless America.
William A. Chalkoff.
Hilai Chalo.
Charles Lawrence Chan.
Mandy Chang.
Rosa Maria Chapa.
Mark Lauren Charette.
David M. Charbla.
Gangorio Maria Chavez.
Pedro Francisco Checo.
Douglas Manuel Cherry.
Stephen Patrick Cherry.
Vern Paul Cherry.
Nestor Julio Chevalier Jr.
Sweet Josie Chevalier.
Alexander H. Chang.
Dorothy J. Churchalo.
Luis Alfonso Chimbo.
Robert Chen.
Eddie Wingwei Ching.
Nicholas Paul Chifalo.
John G. Chipora.
Peter Hay Churchalo.
Catherine Ellis Churls.
Colonel He Casey Cho.
Abul K. Chowdhury.
Emmanuel Salmadine Chowdhury.
Kirsten Lael Christoph.
Paula Cho.
Stephen Paul Chupnick.
Wan Ching Chong.
Christopher Chiafardini.
Alex F. Sicone.
Francis Ann Salenti.
Elaine Silo.
Edna Cintron.
Nicholas Andre Syndrome III.
Robert D. Siri Sr.
Juan Pablo Sinor.
Benjamin Keefe Clark.
Eugene Clark.
And my uncle, William A. Matheson. Uncle Bill, 14 years later, and not a day goes by that I don't think of you. You're always in my heart, the hearts of all your friends and family. We think of you with every note of music that we hear, every sing-along we have after a few beers, and especially when we look at your gorgeous daughters. You will never be forgotten.
And my husband, Tyrone May. I know you will do the same. Stand here for me. You are a loving, caring person that took away from your son, Tyrone Jr., 16 years old. He's holding on strong, and he's keeping me strong. And you smile and everything with Miss, and we'll never forget you. God bless America.
Gregory Allen Clark.
Manny Leroy Clark.
Sarah M. Clark.
Thomas R. Clark.
Christopher Robert Clark.
Donna Marie Clark.
Michael J. Clark.
Saria Rachel Emma Clark.
Kevin Francis Cleary.
James D. Clear.
Jeffrey W. Cloud.
Susan Marie Klein.
Stephen Coakley.
Jeffrey Allen Cole.
Patricia A. Cody.
Daniel Michael Coffey.
Jason Matthew Coffey.
Florence G. Cohn.
Kevin S. Cohen.
Anthony Joseph Caladonato.
Mark Joseph Coleo.
Stephen J. Caleo.
Christopher Michael Colasanti.
Kevin Nathaniel Colbert.
Michelle P. Colbert.
Keith E. Coleman.
Scott Thomas Colon.
Terrell Coleman.
Liam Joseph Colhoun.
Robert D. Collin.
Robert J. Call.
Jean Marie Collin.
John Michael Collins.
Michael L. Collins.
Thomas Joseph Collins.
Joseph Kent Collison.
Jeffrey Dwayne Coleman.
Patricia Malia Kolodner.
Linda M. Cologne.
Saul E. Colon.
And my brother, Timothy Edward Riley. Loving son, brother, nephew, cousin, and friend. We miss you and love you dearly. And may God bless all the first responders and all U.S. Armed Forces who put their life on the line to keep us safe every day. God bless.
And my cousin, firefighter Steve Belson, who dedicated his life first as a lifeguard, then as the brave member of the New York City Fire Department, also known as Mr. Ladder 24. God bless the United States of America.
Ronald Edward Homer,
Jaime Concepcion,
Albert Conten,
Denise Conley,
Susan P. Colin,
Margaret Mary Connor,
Cynthia Marie Lees Connolly,
John E. Connolly Jr.,
James Lee Connor,
Jonathan M. Connors,
Kevin Patrick Connors,
Kevin F. Conroy,
Brenda E. Conway,
Dennis Michael Cook,
Helen D. Cook,
Jeffrey W. Coombs,
John A. Cooper,
Julian T. Cooper,
Joseph John Capote Jr.,
Gerard J. Coppola,
Joseph Albert Corbett,
John J. Corcoran III,
Alejandro Cordero,
Robert Joseph Cordes,
Ruben D. Correa,
Danny A. Correa Gutierrez,
Georgine Rose Corrigan,
James J. Corrigan retired,
Carlos Cortez Rodriguez,
Kevin Michael Cosgrove,
Dolores Marie Costa,
Digna Alexandra Costanza,
Charles Gregory Costello Jr.,
Michael S. Costello,
Asia S. Cotton,
Conrad Kofi Katoy Sr.,
Martin John Coughlin,
John G. Coughlin,
Timothy J. Coughlin,
James E. Cove,
and my brother Angel Perez. I miss you. It's been 14 years. I haven't stopped thinking of you. Love you.
and my uncle John James Badakliaka, who we love and miss every day of the year.
Andre Colin Cox,
Frederick John Cox,
James Raymond Coyle,
Michelle Coyle Elu,
Christopher Seaton Kramer,
Eric A. Cranford,
Denise Elizabeth Krant,
James Leslie Crawford Jr.,
Robert James Crawford,
Tara Kathleen Creamer,
Joanne Marie Cregan,
Lucia Crefasi,
John A. Chrissy,
Daniel Hal Chrisman,
Dennis A. Cross,
Kevin R. Crotty,
Thomas G. Crody,
John R. Crow,
Wells Remy Crowther,
Robert L. Cruikshank,
John Robert Cruz,
Grace Allegre Cua,
Kenneth John Cubas,
Francisco Cruz Cubero,
Thelma Cuccinello,
Richard Joseph Cudina,
Neil James Cudmore,
Thomas Patrick Cullen III,
Joanne Cullinan,
Joyce Rose Cummings,
Brian Thomas Cummings,
Michael Joseph Cunningham,
Robert Curotolo,
Lawrence Damian Curia,
Paul Dario Curioli,
Patrick Joseph Caravan,
Beverly L. Curry,
Andrew Peter Charles Curry Green,
Michael Sean Curtin,
Patricia Cushing,
and my uncles Jose Bienvenido Gomez and Enrique Antonio Gomez. Kiki Bien, we will always love you and remember you. Para siempre estarán en nuestros corazones.
and my nephew Jonathan Neff Capello. Jono, you are sorely missed by your parents and two brothers, as well as the rest of your extended family. Since you were taken from us 14 years ago, you have 12 new nieces, nephews, and cousins who are all learning about their Uncle Jono and the truly special person you were. We all love and miss you.
Gavin Kushney,
Caleb Aaron Dack,
Carlos S. DaCosta,
Jason M. Dahl,
Brian Paul Dale,
John Delara,
Vincent Gerard DeMeo,
Thomas A. Damaskinos,
Jack L. D'Ambrosio Jr.,
Janine Damiani Jones,
Manuel Jewel D'Amato,
Patrick W. Danahy,
Mary San Antonio,
Vincent G. Dons,
Dwight Donald Darcy,
Elizabeth Ann Darling,
Annette Andrea Detram,
Edward A. Diatri,
Firefighter Michael D. Dioria,
Lawrence Davidson,
Michael Allen Davidson,
Scott Matthew Davidson,
Titus Davidson,
Nierka Davila,
Ada M. Davis,
Clinton Davis Sr.,
Wayne Terrell Davis,
Anthony Richard Dawson,
Calvin Dawson,
Edward James Day,
William Thomas Dean,
Robert J. DeAngelis Jr.,
FDNY Battalion Chief Thomas Patrick DeAngelis,
Dorothy Alma de Araujo,
Anna Gloria Cassandra Zabaria,
Tara E. DeBeck,
James D. Debonair,
Anna M. Debin,
James V. de Blasio Jr.,
J. Sorel Malabuak de Chavez,
and my cousin and godson, Joseph Patrick Henry, firefighter, Ladder 21. You are a hero to your family and your fellow firefighters, police, and family sitting here. You are taking from your mom, Alice, and your dad, Edward, your brothers and sisters, and this world much too early at the age of 25. Joey, we miss you. We will always remember you, your smile, your laughter, and your biggest gift to others, your smile. You are so special to everyone in our family, all of your cousins, aunts, and uncles. We pray for you, and we pray for the United States of America. God bless America.
and my father, John Grazioso, and my uncle, Timothy Grazioso. Continue to watch over us. We love and miss you.
Paul DeCola,
Gerald F. DeCanto,
Simon Mirage Debucage,
Jason Christopher DeFazio,
David A. DeFeo,
Jennifer De Jesus,
Monique Effie De Jesus,
Nareda De Jesus,
Emmy De La Pena,
Donald Arthur De La Pena,
Azucena Maria De La Torre,
Vito Joseph Delia,
Danielle Ann Deli,
Andrea Della Bella,
Joseph A. Della Pietra,
Palmina Delegati,
Colleen Ann Delawi,
Joseph DeLuca,
Manuel Del Valle Jr.,
Francis Albert DiMartini,
Anthony Damas,
Martin N. DeMeo,
Francis Deming,
Carol Keys Demetz,
Kevin Dennis,
Thomas Francis Dennis Sr.,
Jean C. De Palma,
Jose Nicolas De Pena,
Robert John Durrani,
Michael DiRienzo,
David Paul DeRubio,
Jamal Legas DeSantis,
Christian Luis DeSimone,
Edward DeSimone III,
Andrew De Desperito,
Michael Jude Desposito,
Cindy Ann Duell,
Melanie Louise DeVere,
Jerry DeVito,
Robert P. DeVitt Jr.,
and my cousin Stephen J. Fiorelli, who was taken from us way too soon. You are loved and missed daily.
and my father, Stephen Lewis Roach. We miss you and we love you each and every day.
Dennis Lawrence Devlin,
Gerard P. Dewan,
Shomalki Kazamali Tahani,
Michael Louis D'Agostino,
Matthew Diaz,
Nancy Diaz,
Abdullah Ruiz Diaz,
Michael A. Diaz Piedra III,
Judith Raquel Diaz Sierra,
Patricia Florence DiChiaro,
Rodney Dickens,
Jerry D. Dickerson,
Joseph DeMott Dickey Jr.,
Lawrence Patrick Dickinson,
Michael D. Deal,
John DeFato,
Vincent Francis DeFazio,
Carl Anthony DeFranco,
Donald Joseph DeFranco,
John DiGiovanni,
Eddie A. Dillard,
Deborah Ann DiMartino,
David DeMiglio,
Stephen Patrick Domino,
William John DeMillan,
Marissa Donardo Shorp,
Christopher Moore Dilcuff,
Jeffrey Mark Dingle,
Rena Sam Dingo,
Anthony Dionisio,
George Pasquale,
Joseph DiPilato,
Douglas Frank DeStefano,
Donald Americo DiTullio,
Ramsey A. DeAnnie,
Johnny Doctor Jr.,
John Joseph Doherty,
Melissa Candida Doy,
Brendan Dolan,
Robert E. Dolan Jr.,
and my brother, Thomas Michael Butler, Squad 1, FTNY. We know you're up in heaven with Dad. We love you, and we miss you every day.
and my husband, Stephen J. Weinberg. Stephen, there isn't a day that goes by that you aren't thought about, loved, and dearly missed. From wherever you are, now joined by your father and my mother, I'm sure you're looking down and beaming with pride. Lindsay now has a Master's of Science degree, and she's pursuing her career at the New York office of the Chief Medical Examiner. And I'm sure you were watching Sam as he graduated with honors from your alma mater, Syracuse University, walking the same steps you did. And you'll be with us again this May, watching Jason as he receives his diploma from Syracuse, continuing your legacy. There wasn't a person you met who didn't want to keep you in their lives forever. You were a devoted son, son-in-law, brother, brother-in-law, uncle, nephew, and friend. But most of all, you were a husband and father. You were our hero and the first responder to all our needs. Our world will never be the same without you. We love you and we miss you.
Neil Matthew Dollard,
James DeMonico,
Benilda Pasqua Domingo,
Alberto Dominguez, Carlos Dominguez,
Jerome Mark Patrick Dominguez,
Kevin W. Donnelly,
Jacqueline Donovan,
William H. Donovan,
Stephen Scott Dorff,
Thomas Dowd,
Kevin Christopher Didell,
Mary Yolanda Dowling,
Raymond Matthew Downey Sr.,
Frank Joseph Doyle,
Joseph Michael Doyle,
Randall L. Drake,
Patrick Joseph Driscoll,
Stephen Patrick Driscoll,
Charles A. Drove III,
Myrna A. Duarte,
Luke A. Dudick,
Christopher Michael Duffy,
Gerard J. Duffy,
Michael Joseph Duffy,
Thomas W. Duffy,
Antoinette Duger,
Jackie Saget Duggan,
Sareve Ducat,
Patrick Dunn,
Felicia Gail Dunn Jones,
Christopher Joseph Dunn,
Richard Anthony Dunstan,
Patrick Thomas Dwyer,
Joseph Anthony Ecobachi,
John Bruce Eagleson,
Edward T. Earhart,
Robert Douglas Eaton,
Dean Philip Eberling,
Margaret Ruth Eckerman,
and my grandfather Cesar Amaranto Alvear. We miss you and we love you a lot.
and my brother-in-law Thomas Francis Swift. We love you and miss you every moment of the day.
Paul Roberts Ekna,
Constantine Economos,
Barbara G. Edwards,
Dennis Michael Edwards,
Michael Hardy Edwards,
Christine Egan,
Lisa Aaron Egan,
Martin J. Egan Jr.,
Carol Eggert,
Samantha Martin Egan,
Michael Egan,
Lisa Karen Ehrlich,
John Ernst Eichler,
Eric Adam Eisenberg,
Daphne Ferlunda Elder,
Michael J. Alferis,
Mark Joseph Ellis,
Valerie Silver Ellis,
Albert Alfie William Elmery,
Robert R. Elseth,
Edgar Hendricks Emery Jr.,
Doris Suk Yuen Ang,
Christopher Epps,
Ulf Ron Erickson,
Erwin L. Erger,
William John Irwin,
Sarah Ali Escrucega,
Jose Espinal,
Fanny Espinosa,
Billy Scoop Esposito,
Bridget Ann Esposito,
Francis Esposito,
Michael A. Esposito,
Ruben Esquilin Jr.,
Sadie Et,
Barbara G. Etzel,
Eric Brian Evans.
Robert Edward Evans.
Meredith Emily June Edwards.
Catherine K. Fagan.
And my uncle, Port Authority Police Officer David Prudencio Lamagne. Although I never met him, I love him very much.
My podium partner for keeping me calm, thank you. And from my uncle, Dominic Mosh Merkovich. You taught me many lessons as a youngster that I still use today in my everyday life, including persistence. I love you and I miss you.
Patricia Mary Fagan.
Evan Kyrilos Fairbanks Barbosa.
Keith George Fairbairn.
Sandra Fajardo Smith.
Charles S. Falkenberg.
Dana Falkenberg.
Zoe Falkenberg.
Jamie L. Fallon.
William F. Fallon.
William Lawrence Fallon Jr.
Anthony J. Fallon Jr.
Dolores Bridget Finelli.
Robert John Fagman.
John Joseph Fanning.
Kathleen Ann Farragut.
Ton James Farino.
Nancy C. Dolzinski.
Paige Mary Farley Hackle.
Elizabeth Ann Farmer.
Douglas John Farnham.
John Gerard Farrell.
John W. Farrell.
Terrence Patrick Farrell.
Joseph D. Farley.
Thomas Patrick Farley.
Saeed Abdul Fatah.
Christopher Edward Fornan.
W. R. Faulkner.
Shannon Marie Favre.
Bernard D. Pavuza.
Robert Fazio Jr.
Ronald Carl Fazio Sr.
William M. Feenan.
Francis Jude Feely.
Garth Aaron Feeney.
Sean Bernard Fegan.
Lee S. Feeling.
Peter Adam Fiedelberg.
Alan D. Feinberg.
Rosa Maria Felicio.
And my brother, Joseph Firefighter Joseph A. Mascali.
And my father, Donald Richard Gavigan Jr.
John R. Fisher.
Andrew Fisher.
Bennett Lawson Fisher.
Gerald P. Fisher.
John Roger Fisher.
Thomas J. Fisher.
Lucy A. Fishman.
Ryan D. Fitzgerald.
Thomas James Fitzpatrick.
Richard P. Fitzsimmons.
Salvatore Fiume Fredo.
Darlene E. Flagg.
Wilson F. Flagg.
Christina Donovan Flannery.
Eileen Fletcher.
And my father, Edward Carlino, I love you and I miss you every day.
And my uncle, firefighter Edward James White III. Uncle Ted, even though I never met you, from all the stories I hear, I know you are an amazing person and a hero. Everyone loves and misses you so much. God bless the FDNY Police and Port Authority. God bless America.
Andrew G. Fletcher.
Carl M. Flickinger.
Matthew M. Flacco.
John Joseph Florio,
Joseph Walkden Flounders,
Carl N. Fleizik,
David Foder,
Michael N. Foder,
Stephen Mark Fogel,
Thomas J. Foley,
Jane C. Folger,
David J. Fontana,
Chi Min Fu,
DeRose E. Forbes Cheatham,
Godwin Ford,
Donald A. Foreman,
Christopher Hugh Forsyth,
Claudia Alyssa Foster,
Noel John Foster,
Sandra Ann Foster,
Anna Fosteres,
Robert Joseph Foti,
Jeffrey Fox,
Virginia Elizabeth Fox,
Pauline Francis,
Virgin Lucy Francis,
Gary J. Frank,
Morton H. Frank,
Peter Christopher Frank,
Colleen L. Frazier,
Richard K. Frazier,
Kevin J. Foley,
Clyde Frazier Jr.,
Lillian Nez Frederick,
Andrew Fredericks,
Tamitha Freeman,
Brett Owen Freeman,
Peter L. Froon,
Arlene Eva Freed,
Alan W. Freelander,
and my brother-in-law, Edward Raymond Vanacore. Ed, you are missed dearly every day by all your family and friends. We know that you are happy now. You have your parents with you. We feel your presence every day. Please know that you and all of the other victims will never be forgotten. Your nieces and nephews make you proud every day at their hard work and diligence. We love you and wish you were here.
And to my godfather and uncle, Emilio P. Ortiz, I miss you so much. I miss the way you laughed, talked, walked, made funny jokes. We love you and miss you, and just let you know that your beautiful daughters grew up to be wonderful little girls.
Andrew Keith Freeman,
Paul J. Friedman,
Greg J. Forner,
Lisa Ann Frost,
Peter Christian Fry,
Clement A. Famando,
Stephen Elliott Furman,
Paul James Formato,
Carlton Douglas B. Fife,
Frederick Neil Gabler,
Richard Peter Gabriel,
Richard S. Gabriel,
James Andrew Gadillo,
Pamela Lee Gaff,
Erwin Vincent Gallardi,
Dania Lee Galante and her unborn child,
Grace Catherine Galenti,
Anthony Edward Gallagher,
Daniel James Gallagher,
John Patrick Gallagher,
Lourdes J. Galletti,
Kono E. Gallo,
Vincent Luciana,
Thomas E. Galvin,
Giovanna Galetta Gambel,
Thomas Gambino Jr.,
Gian F. Gamboa,
Ronald L. Gambona,
Peter James Gansey Jr.,
Michael Gahn,
Charles William Garbini,
Andrew Sonny Garcia,
Caesar R. Garcia,
David Garcia,
Jorge Luis Moran Garcia,
Juan Garcia,
Marlene Del Carmen Garcia,
Christopher Samuel Gardner,
Douglas Benjamin Gardner,
Harvey Joseph Gardner III,
and my good friend and golf companion, Frank J. Bonamo from Engine Company 230.
And my father, firefighter Kevin Joseph Smith from Hazmat 1. Words can't explain how much you're missed every day, and it is with great honor to follow in your footsteps and carry on your legacy as one of New York's bravest. I miss you so much and wish you were here.
Jeffrey Brian Gardner.
Thomas A. Gardner.
William Arthur Gardner.
Frank Garfey.
Rocco Nino Gargano.
James M. Gartenberg.
Matthew David Garvey.
Bruce Gary.
Boyd Allen Gatton.
Donald Richard Gavigan Jr.
Peter Allen Gay.
Terrence D. Gazani.
Gary Paul Geidel.
Paul Hamilton Geyer.
Julie M. Geis.
Peter Gerard Jelinus.
Stephen Paul Geller.
Howard G. Gelling Jr.
Peter Victor Janko Jr.
Stephen Gregory Genovese.
Elaine Gentle.
Linda M. George.
Edward F. Garati.
Suzanne Garrity.
Ralph Gerhardt.
Robert Gerlich.
Dennis P. Germain.
Marina Romanovna Gertzberg.
Susan M. Getzendonner.
Lawrence D. Getzfred.
James G. Geyer.
Cortez Gee.
Joseph M. Giacone.
Vincent Francis Giamona.
Deborah Lynn Gibbon.
James Andrew Giberson.
Brenda C. Gibson.
Craig Neil Gibson.
Ronnie E. Geis.
Andrew Clive Gilbert.
And my father, Frederick Koo Jr. There's not a moment that goes by that we don't miss you, but know we see a little bit of you and the 8 grandchildren you've yet to meet, but watch over with us every day. I love you.
And my brother, FDNY firefighter George DePasquale. George, you're a hero to our family. We love and miss you terribly.
Timothy Paul Gilbert.
Paul Stewart Gilby.
Paul John Gill.
Mark Y. Giles.
Evan Hunter Giletti.
Ronald Lawrence Gilligan.
Rodney C. Gillis.
Laura Gilly.
John F. Ginley.
Donna Marie Giordano.
Jeffrey John Giordano.
John Giordano.
Stephen A. Giorgetti.
Martin Giovinazzo.
Kumkum Girolamo.
Salvatore Zito.
Cynthia Giuliano.
Man Jean Balaj.
Diane Gladstone.
Keith Alexander Lasco.
Thomas Irwin Glasser.
Edmund Glazer.
Harry Glenn.
Barry H. Glick.
Jeremy Logan Glick.
Stephen Glick.
John T. Nasso.
William Robert Godsholt.
Michael Garliamella.
Brian F. Goldberg.
Jeffrey G. Goldflam.
Michelle Goldstein.
Monica Goldstein.
Andrew H. Gulkin.
Ronald F. Galinsky.
Enrique Antonio Gomez.
Dennis James Gomes.
Manuel Gomez Jr.
Jose Bienvenido Gomez. And my father, firefighter Gerard Patrick Schrang of FDNY Rescue Company 3. Daddy, you are forever my hero.
And my father, Tucky Goody,
will always be missed and loved.
Wilder Alfredo Gomez.
Janine Nicole Gonzalez.
Mauricio Gonzalez.
Rosa J. Gonzalez.
Lynn Catherine Goodchild.
Calvin Joseph Gooding.
Peter Morgan Goodrich.
Harry Goody.
Kiran Kumar Reddy Gopu.
Catherine C. Goriev.
Lisa Fenn Gordonstein.
Karine Gordon.
Sebastian Gorky.
Kieran Joseph Gorman.
Thomas Edward Gorman.
Michael Edward Gould.
O. Kristen Osterholm White Gould.
Douglas Allen Gowell.
Yuji Goya.
John Richard Grabowski.
Christopher Michael Grady.
Edwin J. Graff III.
David Martin Grafman.
Gilbert Franco Granados.
Lauren Catuzzi Grancolas.
Elvira Granito.
Winston Arthur Grant.
Christopher S. Gray.
Ian J. Gray.
James Michael Gray.
Tara McLeod Gray.
John M. Gracioso.
Timothy George Gracioso.
Derek Arthur Green.
Wade B. Green.
Wanda Anita Green.
Elaine Myra Greenberg.
Donald Freeman Green.
Gail R. Green.
James Arthur Greenleaf Jr.
And my brother Jimmy, James F. Murphy IV. Your sense of humor and infectious spirit continue to brighten our lives. I miss you.
And our good friend, James Martello. Jimmy, you are sorely missed. Save me a seat.
Eileen Marsha Greenstein. Elizabeth Martin Gregg. Denise Marie Gregory. Donald H. Gregory. Florence Moran Gregory. Pedro Grihan. John Michael Griffin. Tawana Sherry Griffin. Joan Donna Griffith. Warren Grifka. Ramon B. Gravallo. Joseph F. Grillo. David Joseph Grimna. Francis Edward Grogan. Linda Grunland. Kenneth George Grualis. Joseph Grislet. Matthew James Grizamowski. Robert Joseph Gashar. Liming Gu. Richard J. Guadagno. Jose A. Guadalupe. Cindy Yan Zhu Wan. Jeffrey E. Guja. Joseph B. Galixon. Babita Grijamate Guman. Douglas Brian Gurian. Janet Ruth Gustafson. Philip T. Guza. Barbara Guzardo. Peter Mark Gulawari. Gary Robert Hag,
Andrea Lynn Haberman,
Barbara Mary Habib,
Philip Heisentler,
Nizam A. Hafiz,
Karen Elizabeth Haggerty,
Stephen Michael Haggis,
Mary Lou Hay,
David Halderman,
and my husband, Jayesh Santilal Shah. My kids and I, we love you very much, and we miss you every single day. And my kids and I would like to humbly thank everyone that has helped us through the last 14 years to be able to gently go through the sorrows, the suffering, the pain, and thank you all very much. The city, the nation, the friends, the family, everyone that came across and helped us. Thank you.
and my cousin and godmother, Janine Damiani Jones. We love you and miss you always.
Miley Rachel Hale,
Diane Hale McKinsey,
Richard B. Hall,
Stanley R. Hall,
Boswald George Hall,
Robert J. Halligan,
Vincent Gerard Halloran,
Carolyn B. Halman,
James Douglas Halvorsen,
Mohammed Salman Halmandi,
Felicia Hamilton,
Firefighter Robert W. Hamilton,
Carl Max Hammond Jr.,
Frederick K. Hahn,
Christopher James Hanley,
Firefighter Sean S. Hanley,
Valerie Joan Hanna,
Firefighter Thomas Paul Hannafin,
Kevin James Hannaford Sr.,
Michael Lawrence Hannon,
Dana Ray Hannon.
Christine Lee Hansen.
It has been an honor for the past 13 years for me to read the names of all the beautiful lives that were lost on this very site. And for my son, Paul, you always will be our wind beneath our wings. Continue.
Peter.
Peter Burton Hansen,
Sue Kim Hansen,
Vasilios G. Haramis,
James A. Harron,
Gerald Francis Hardacre,
Jeffrey Pike Hardy,
T.J. Hargrave,
Firefighter Daniel Edward Harlan,
Francis Harros,
Lieutenant Harvey L. Harrell,
Stephen G. Harrell,
Melissa Harrington Hughes,
Aisha Ann Harris, Stewart.
Stuart D. Harris,
John Patrick Hart,
Herrick Artono,
John Clinton Hartz,
Emmerich Harvey,
and my son Paul Robert Eckner, you are the wind beneath our wings.
and my father, Firefighter John Albert Shard, Engine Company 201. Dad, there isn't a day that doesn't go by where I don't think about you. You're an amazing, lovable person inside and out. And I know you're up there in heaven looking down on Mom and the three of us. I hope you are so proud of the job that your amazing wife has done with us. I hope you are proud of the man I am becoming and doing my best to make sure Mom is safe. God bless the soldiers who defend our country, and God bless America.
Peter Paul Hashan,
Timothy Thomas Theodore Haskell Jr.,
Timothy Sean Hassel,
Joseph John Hassan III,
Leonard W. Hayton Jr.,
Terrence S. Hayton,
Michael Helmut Hogg,
Timothy Heron Haviland,
Donald G. Hoblish Jr.,
Anthony Maurice Hawkins,
Nobuhiro Hayatsu,
James Edward Hayden,
Robert J. Hayes,
Philip T. Hayes, retired,
W. Ward Haynes,
Scott Jordan Hazelcorn,
Michael K. Healy,
Roberta B. Heber,
Charles Francis Xavier Heron,
John F. Heffernan,
Michael M. Henderberger,
Sheila M.S. Hine,
H. Joseph Heller Jr.,
Joanne Helty Bridle,
Ronald John Hemway,
Mark F. Hamshoot,
Ronnie Lee Henderson,
Brian Hansey,
Edward R. Hennessy Jr.,
Michelle Marie Henrique,
Joseph Patrick Henry,
William Henry Jr.,
Katharina Henry Robinson,
John Christopher Hanward,
Robert Allen Hepburn,
Mary Hernicia,
Lindsay C. Harkness III,
Harvey Robert Hermer,
Norberto Hernandez,
Raul Hernandez,
and my son, Anthony Perez. Anthony, we love you. We will never forget you. Your three children are doing very well. They work very hard because they say they want you to be proud of him. And I pray for you to pray to our God to keep America safe and give the politicians the knowledge to keep America safe.
my son Michael S. Batch. I miss you every day. And your nephews, they wanted to come from Tennessee here to come here, but it was not possible. Everyone thinks of you and they remember you, and they are growing as tall as you are already. And they are 12 and 13, and your children are also missing you all the time. And the older one, Cass, he's here with me today. I love you and miss you, but I'll be hoping to see you when Jesus comes. Amen.
Gary Harold,
Jeffrey Allen Hirsch,
Thomas J. Hetzel,
Leon Bernard Hayward McSundance,
Brian Christopher Hickey,
and Emencio Dario Hildago Cedeno,
Timothy Brian Higgins,
Robert D.W. Higley II,
Todd Russell Hill,
Clara Victorine Hines,
Neil O. Hines,
Mark Hindi,
Katoyuki Hirai,
Heather Malia Hope,
Tara Yvette Hobbs,
Thomas Anderson Hobbs,
James J. Hoban,
Robert Wayne Hobson III,
Dajuan Hodges,
Ronald G. Horner,
Patrick A. Hoey,
John A. Hofer,
Marcia Hoffman,
Stephen Gerard Hoffman,
Frederick Joseph Hoffman,
Michelle L. Hoffman,
Judith Florence Hoffmiller,
Wallace Cole Hogan, Jr.,
Thomas Warren Holweck, Jr.,
Jonathan R. Homan,
Cora Hidalgo Holland,
John Holland,
Joseph F. Holland,
Jimmy I. Hawley,
Elizabeth Holmes,
Thomas P. Holohan,
Herbert Wilson Homer,
Leroy W. Homer, Jr.,
Bradley V. Horn,
James P. Hopper,
and my beautiful and loving sister, Judy Hazel Santillán Fernandez, and my cousin, Maria Teresa Concepcion Santillán. Not a day goes by that we do not think about you. Our hearts are broken forever. But we go by each day with your wonderful memory. We love you and miss you so much. Judy, your nieces, Emily and Avery, and your nephews, Derek and Brandon, send you their love.
and my dad, Yudhvir S. Jain. Memories are the only real treasure any human can hope to hold always. Dad, thank you so much for your memories, and I really wish you could meet your granddaughter because she reminds me of you so much. I love you very, very much and miss you always.
Montgomery McCullen Horde.
Michael Joseph Horn.
Matthew Douglas Horning.
Robert L. Horoho, Jr.
Michael Robert Horrocks.
Aaron Horwitz.
Charles J. Houston.
Huruhu G. Houston.
Angela M. House.
George Gerard Howard.
Brady K. Howell.
Michael C. Howell.
Stephen Leon Howell.
Jennifer L. Holly.
Hilaugus Romana.
Marian R. Hirichek.
Stephen Hakos Jr.
Chris Robert Hughes.
Paul Redford Hughes.
Robert T. Hughes, Jr.
Thomas F. Hughes Jr.
Timothy Robert Hughes.
John Nicholas Hummer Jr.
Lemmer Demetrius House.
Kathleen Ann Hunt Casey.
William Christopher Hunt.
Peggy M. Hurt.
Joseph Gerard Hunter.
Stephen N. Highland Jr.
Robert R. Husa.
Thomas Edward Hines.
Robert J. Himmel.
Joseph Anthony Iannelli.
Walter G. Hines.
Jonathan Lee Elpy.
Zutu Ibis.
Daniel Cavani.
Michael Patrick Icon.
And my sister, Jane Ellen Baszler.
Frederick J. Eel Jr. and my husband, Wei Bin Wang. We love you and miss you each every day. You will live in our hearts forever.
Abraham Nathaniel Ilowitz.
Anthony P. Infante Jr.,
Louis S. Inglaterra.
Christopher Noble Ingracia,
Paul Inella.
Stephanie Veronica Irby,
Douglas Jason Eargang.
Kristen Irvine Ryan,
Todd Antion Isaac.
Eric Hans Isbronson,
Taitso Ishikawa.
Waleed Joseph Iskander,
Aram Iskandarian Jr.
John F. Iskian,
Kazushige Ito.
Alexander Valerievich Ivansov,
Lacey Bernard Ivory.
Virginia Yablonsky.
Brian C. Jack.
Brooke Alexandra Jackman.
Aaron Jeremy Jacobs.
Ariel Lewis Jacobs.
Jason Kyle Jacobs.
Michael G. Jacobs.
Stephen A. Jacobson.
Stephen D. Jacoby.
Rick North Jagannath.
Jake Dennis Yagoda.
Judvia S. Jane.
Maria Yakubiak.
Robert Adrian Jalbert.
Ernest James.
Griselda E. James.
Mark Stephen Jardine.
Amy Nicole Jarrett.
Muhammadu Jawara.
Francois Jean-Pierre.
Maxima Jean-Pierre.
Paul Edward Jeffers.
John Charles Jenkins.
And my brother-in-law, Barry J. McKeon. Devoted husband to Ginny, proud father of Kristen, Jackie, Erin, and Ryan.
And my grandfather, FDNY Captain James J. Corrigan, who we love and miss. Me and my two sisters wish we got to meet you.
Joseph Jenkins Jr.
Alan Keith Jensen.
Prem Nath Jarath.
Farah Judy.
Huaidar Gian.
Eliza Jimenez Jr.
Luis Jimenez Jr.
Charles Gregory John.
Nicholas John.
Dennis M. Johnson.
LaShawna Johnson.
Scott Michael Johnson.
William R. Johnston.
Allison Horseman Jones.
Arthur Joseph Jones III.
Brian Linder Jones.
Charles Edward Jones.
Christopher D. Jones.
Donald T. Jones II.
Donald W. Jones.
Judith Lauder Jones.
Linda Jones.
Mary S. Jones.
Andrew Brian Jordan Sr.
Robert Thomas Jordan.
Albert Gunnis Joseph.
Ingeborg Joseph.
Carl Henry Joseph.
Stephen Joseph.
Jane Eileen Josiah.
Anthony Jovic.
Angel L. Warbe Jr.
Karen Sue Jude.
Ann C. Judge.
Michael F. Judge.
Paul William Jurgens.
Thomas Edward Jurgens.
Shashikaran Lakshmikantha Kadaba.
Gavaroy Kamardinova.
Shari Kendall.
Pamela Chu. And my big brother, Christopher Michael Duffy. The king of the Duff Jam, our guardian angel, number 41. Keep watching over us. Your spirit lives on in all your family. We love you and we miss you.
And my husband, Carlos Dominguez. Carlos, you are greatly missed. You were a big man with a heart that matched your size. Your memory remains each and every day in the eyes of your children. You would be so proud of the intelligent, compassionate, beautiful young women that you have helped bring into this world. I love you, I miss you, and I will never forget. The world may never forget.
Howard Lee Kane.
Jennifer Lynn Kane.
Vincent D. Kane.
June Ku Kang.
Sheldon Roberts Cantor.
Deborah H. Kaplan.
Robin Lynn Kaplan.
Alvin Peter Kappelman Jr.
Charles H. Karcheski.
William A. Carnes.
Douglas Jean Karpiloff.
Charles L. Casper.
Andrew K. Cates.
John A. Katsimatidis.
Robert Michael Colfers.
Don Jerome Kauth Jr.,
Hidea Kawauchi,
Edward T. Keene,
Richard M. Keene,
Lisa Yvonne Carney Griffith,
Carol Ann Kiesler,
Barbara A. Keating,
Paul Hanlon Keating,
Leo Russell Keene III,
Brenda Kegler,
Chandler Raymond Keller,
Joseph John Keller,
Peter R. Kellerman,
Joseph P. Kellett,
Frederick H. Kelly III,
James Joseph Kelly,
Joseph A. Kelly,
Maurice P. Kelly,
Thomas Richard Kelly,
Thomas Michael Kelly,
Timothy Colin Kelly,
William Hill Kelly Jr.,
Robert Clinton Kennedy,
and my cousin Anna A. Laverty. We think of you with love today, but that is nothing new. We thought about you yesterday and days before that too. We think of you in silence, we often speak your name. Now all we have are memories and your pictures in a frame. Your memory is in our keepsake with which we'll never part. God has you in his keeping, we have you in our hearts.
and my cousin and big brother, Calixto Charlie Anaya Jr. Words can't express how I feel. We love you and miss you. God bless all that were lost today. We will never forget.
Thomas J. Kennedy.
Yvonne E. Kennedy.
John Richard Keohane.
Ralph Francis Kishore.
Ronald T. Kerwin.
Howard L. Kestenbaum.
Douglas D. Ketchum.
Ruth Ellen Kettler.
Boris Halif.
Norma Cruz Khan.
Sarah Khan.
Taimur Faraz Khan.
Rajesh Handelwal.
Saley Koo.
Michael Vernon Kiefer.
Satoshi Kichuhara.
Andrew Jae-hoon Kim.
Lawrence Don Kim.
Mary Jo Kimmelman.
Heinrich Kimmage.
Karen Ann Kincaid.
Amy R. King.
Andrew M. King.
Lucille Teresa King.
Robert King Jr.
Lisa King Johnson.
Brian K. Kinney.
Takashi Kinoshita.
Chris Michael Kirby.
Robert Kirkpatrick.
Howard Barry Kirschbaum.
Glenn Davis Kerwin.
Helen Crossan Kittle.
Richard Joseph Claris.
Peter Anton Klein.
Alan David Kleinberg.
Karen Joyce Klitzman.
Ronald Philip Klopfer.
Stephen A. Knapp.
Eugenie Nieves.
And my brother, Bernard Petronico. Bernard, you are in our hearts always and in our thoughts. And when we look at Joe and Lexi, we see you are very much alive. We love you and we miss you, my big little brother, and I see you brought the sun. You're smiling on us. God bless you.
And my older brother, Alexander Ortiz, who we call Alex. Your friends and family miss you and love you. It's been 14 years, we'll never forget. And as a survivor that day as well, I will never forget. That memory's been embedded in my memory. God bless the military and the USA. The military my brothers have been a member of, and also my family. Thank you.
Andrew James Knox.
Deborah A. Kubos.
Rebecca Lee Kabori.
Frank J. Costner.
Gary Edward Kucklicker.
Vanessa Lynn Shabola Kopak.
Ryan Cohart.
Suzanne Rose Kondratinko.
Arena Kopakalapa.
Bonsik Ku.
Abdullah Kone.
Scott Michael Kapotek.
Durata Kopachiko.
Danielle Kusolis.
Bohan George Kostic.
John J. Cream.
David P. Kavalsian.
Ludmila Casito.
William Edward Krukowski.
Shakar Kumar.
Toshaya Kuge.
Frederick Ku Jr.
Kenneth Bruce Campo.
Noka Kishahani.
Patricia A. Kuras.
Victor Wate.
Thomas Joseph Kuvakis.
Angela Reed Kite.
Raymond Hugh Faikwak.
Carol Ann LaPlante.
Andrew Lacorte.
Catherine L. Labore.
Jeffrey G. Latouche.
Ganesh K. Lakat.
Amarnuth Lockman.
Joseph A. LaFalce.
James Patrick Ladley.
David James LaForge.
Jeanette Louise Lafon Menechino.
David James LaForge.
And my cousin, Angel Penna. I know, Angel, you're looking down on your wife, Michelle, on the amazing job she's done in raising your two beautiful daughters. I also stand here proudly wearing my flight attendant uniform in honor of the crews of United Flight 93, United Flight 175, American Flight 11, and American Flight 77. We will never forget you.
And my son, Brian Patrick Monahan. I can still remember 14 years ago, it was a Tuesday morning when you left for work, never knowing that you wouldn't return. You left the building that day, but went back in. Don't know what you were thinking, but you are a true American hero. You're my hero. You're my son. I love you. Your family's here today, which is, I know you're looking down, smiling and shaking your head, saying that I'm nervous, but I am. So, God bless, son. Love you. Keep smiling.
Michael Patrick Lafort. Michael Patrick Lafort.
Alan Charles LaFrance.
Juan Mendez Lafuente.
Neil Quan Y. Lay.
Vincent Anthony Laeda.
William David Lake.
Franco Lala Ma.
Chow
Quan Lam,
Michael S. Lamana,
Stephen Lamancha,
Amy Hope Lamansoff,
Robert T. Lane,
Brendan Mark Lang,
Roseanne P. Lang,
Vanessa Lang Langer,
Mary Lou Langley,
Peter J. Lagone,
Thomas Michael Langone,
Michelle Bernadette Lanza,
Ruth Sheila Lapin,
Ingeborg A. D. Larrabee,
Robin Blair Larkey,
Judith Camila LaRock,
Christopher Randall Larrabee,
Hamadou S. Larry,
Scott Larson,
John Adam Larson,
Natalie Janice Lasden,
Gary Edward Lasko,
Nicholas Craig Lassman,
Paul Lasinski,
Charles A. Lorenzen,
Stephen James Loria,
Maria Lavache,
Dennis Francis Levy,
Janine Mary Laverde,
Anna A. Lavardi,
Stephen Lawn,
Robert A. Lawrence Jr.,
Nathaniel Lawson,
and my beloved brother Alejandro Castano. Your niece wrote a love letter. It's too long. And if I read it, I know I'm going to start crying. And you said to me, there's no crying. You have to be strong. I just want to say that I love you and I miss you very much. Mom and Dad are here. Your son can't make it. It's hard for him. It's been 14 years. He's 27 now. I know you're going to be very proud of him. He always says why, but he has faith that he will see you one day. We love you and we miss you.
and our beloved Sean Gordon Corbett O'Neill. We think of you every single day. Your light and spirit shine so brightly through our daughter. I know you're so proud of her. She hopes that you see her, and I tell her that you do. We love you, and you are unforgettable.
David W. Lachek.
Eugen Gabriel Lazar.
James Patrick Leahy.
Joseph Gerard Levy.
Neil J. Levy.
Robert G. LeBlanc.
Leon Labor.
Kenneth Charles Lede.
Alan J. Liederman.
Elena F. Ledesma.
Alexis LaDuke.
Daniel John Lee.
David S. Lee.
Dong Chul Lee.
Gary H. Lee.
Hyun June Lee.
Juanita Lee.
Catherine Blair Lee.
Linda C. Lee.
Lorraine Mary Green Lee.
Myung Woo Lee.
Richard Y. C. Lee.
Stuart Su Jing Lee.
Yang Der Lee.
Stephen Paul Lefkowitz.
Adriana Legro.
Edward Joseph Lehman.
Eric Lerfeld.
David R. Leastman.
David Prudencio Lamagne.
Joseph Anthony Lenahan.
John Joseph Lennon Jr.
John Robinson Lenoir.
Jorge Luis Leon Sr.
Matthew G. Leonard.
Michael Lepore.
Charles A. L'Esperance,
Jeff Levine,
John Dennis Levi,
Alicia Karen Levin,
and my beloved husband, Peter C. Mutos, forever in my heart. And thank you all for those who serve to keep our country safe and our freedom. Thank you.
and my uncle, John Thomas Resta, my aunt, Sylvia Sampio Resta, and their baby that we never got to meet. We all love you and miss you every day.
Neil David Levin.
Robert Levine.
Robert Michael Levine.
Shahid Levenhar.
Daniel M. Lewin.
Kenneth E. Lewis.
Jennifer Lewis.
Yi Wei Lang.
Margaret Susan Lewis.
Daniel F. Liberty.
Arasri Liang Thanasan.
Edward Lynchstein.
Ralph Michael Licciardi.
Stephen Barry Lilienthal.
Samantha L. Lightborn Allen.
Craig Damian Lalore.
Carlos R. Lilo.
Daria Lynn.
Arnold Arboleda Lim.
Nikki L. Lindo.
Wei Rong Lin.
Robert Thomas Lanai.
Thomas V. Linehan Jr.
Diane Teresa LaParry.
Alan Patrick Linton Jr.
Francesco Alberto Libriano.
Kenneth P. Lira Aravello.
Paul Lisson.
Lorraine Lisi.
Ming Hao Lu.
Vincent M. Lito.
Harold Liscano.
Nancy Liz.
George A. Lanes.
Martin Lazul.
Catherine Lisa Laguccier.
Elizabeth C. Logler.
Michael William Lomax.
Jerome Robert Lohes. And my son, my beloved son, Joshua Todd Aaron. Not a day goes by that I don't think about you and talk to you. Everyone whose life you touched knew your passion and your love and is diminished in your absence. You are my gift, and I am diminished in your absence.
And my wonderful, loving cousin, Joseph Francis Sacerdote. The family miss your laughter and your wonderful, funny stories. God bless New York City, and God bless our first responders.
Stephen V. Long. Laura Marie Longing. Salvatore P. Lopez. Daniel Lopez. George Lopez. Luis Manuel Lopez. Maclovio Lopez Jr. Manuel L. Lopez. Joseph Lestrangio. Chet Deck Louis. Stuart Sade Luis. Joseph Loverio. Sarah Elizabeth Lowe. Jenny Sue Kwong Lo Wong. Michael W. Lowe. Gary W. Lozier,
John P. Lazowski,
Charles Peter Lucania,
Edward Hobbs Luckett II,
Mark Gavin Levinson,
Lee Charles Ludwig,
Sean Thomas Lugano,
Daniel Lugo,
Marie Lucas,
William Lum Jr.,
Michael P. London,
Christopher E. Lunder,
Anthony Lou Perello,
Gary Frederick Lutnick,
Linda Ann Luzacone,
Alexander Ligon,
C.C. Lyles,
Pharrell Peter Lynch,
James Francis Lynch,
James T. Lynch Jr.,
Louise A. Lynch,
Michael Cameron Lynch,
Michael Francis Lynch,
Michael Francis Lynch,
Richard D. Lynch Jr.,
and my father, Battalion Chief Hazmat Operations, John Joseph Fanning. We all love and miss you terribly. You are my strength, guardian angel, and the reason I never give up. I am so proud to be your daughter and to be named after you. I truly hope you are proud of the person I am today. And to your beautiful granddaughter, Kyla, who you never met, she hears about her grandpa Jack all the time. And your nephew Stephen flew in from Vegas to be with you today. And to my 3 fellow New York State court officers who also perished on that horrible day, may you all rest in peace.
and my sister, Juanita Lee. Nina, we miss you every day. Not a day go by that we don't think about you. You would be proud of your daughter, Nikki, who's doing a beautiful job raising your brilliant and beautiful granddaughter, Sakari. Continue to be our angel and watch over us until we meet again, sister.
Robert Henry Lynch Jr.,
Sean P. Lynch,
Sean Patrick Lynch,
Terrence M. Lynch,
Michael J. Lyons,
Monica Ann Lyons,
Naheeman Lyons IV,
Patrick John Lyons,
Robert Francis Mace,
Marianne McFarlane,
Jan Matsievsky,
Susan A. Mackey,
William Macko,
Catherine Fairfax McCrae,
Richard Blaine Madden,
Simon Madison,
Noel C. Myers,
Jenny Ann Maffeo,
Joseph Maffeo,
J. Robert Magazine,
Brian McGee,
Charles W. McGee,
Joseph V. McGiddy,
Ronald Magnuson,
Daniel L. Meyer,
Thomas A. Mahan,
William J. Mahoney,
Joseph Daniel Mayo,
Linda C. Mayer Grayling,
Takashi Makimoto,
Abdu Ali Malahi,
Deborah I. Maldonado,
Myrna T. Maldonado Agosto,
Alfred Russell Mailer,
Gregory James Malone,
Edward Francis Maloney III,
Joseph E. Maloney,
Jean Edward Malloy,
Christian H. Maltby,
Francisco Miguel Mancini,
and my nephew Kevin Nathaniel Colbert, who I'm certain is astounded by how much he's loved and still missed by everyone in our family, especially his mom. You're always in our hearts. We miss your smile. God bless you. God bless our troops, cops, and firefighters. And God bless the United States of America.
and lead flight attendant on Flight American Airlines 11, my cousin Karen Ann Martin.
Joseph Mangano,
Sarah Elizabeth Manley,
Deborah M. Manetta,
Marian Victoria Manning,
Terrence John Manning,
James Maunice,
Alfred Giles Padre Joseph Marchand,
Joseph Ross Marchbanks Jr.,
Peter Edward Mardikian,
Hilda Marcin,
Charles Joseph Margiotta,
Edward Joseph Mardovich,
Kenneth Joseph Marino,
Lester V. Mariano,
Vita Marino,
Kevin D. Marlowe,
Jose Juan Marrero,
John Daniel Marshall,
Shelley A. Marshall,
James Martello,
Michael A. Marty,
Karen Ann Martin,
Peter C. Martin,
Teresa M. Martin,
William J. Martin Jr.,
Brian E. Martineau,
Betsy Martinez,
Edward J. Martinez,
Jose Angel Martinez Jr.,
Robert Gabriel Martinez,
Waleska Martinez,
Lizzie D. Martinez Calderon,
Paul Richard Martini,
Anne Marie Martino Kramer,
Joseph A. Miscali,
Bernard Marcianajos,
Stephen Frank Massey,
Ada L. Mason Aker,
and my uncle, firefighter John James Tipping II. Uncle John, you're the greatest example of a hero that I've ever known. Thank you, we love you, and we miss you.
and my father, firefighter Leon Smith Jr. of Ladder 118, Engine 205. Mom, Grandma, my sisters Tiffany, Yolanda, Deshauna, Jasmine, Leandra. We're comforted today only knowing that you did a job well done. To all the 9/11 families, my podium partner here, my family, on the behalf of my family, we wish you all peace, blessings, and we continue to pray for those who act cowardly towards others. And to the men in uniform, men and women, we thank you for your service. God bless.
Nicholas George Massa,
Patricia Ann Cimaroli Masari,
Michael Massaroli,
Philip William Mastrandria Jr.,
Rudy Mastrocinque,
Joseph Mathai,
Charles William Mathers,
William A. Matheson,
Marcelo Matriciano,
Margaret Elaine Maddock,
Dean E. Matson,
Robert D. Matson,
Walter A. Matusa Jr.,
Timothy J. Maud,
Jill Mora Campbell,
Charles A. Morrow Jr.,
Charles J. Morrow,
Dorothy Morrow,
Nancy T. Morrow,
Robert J. Maxwell,
Renee A. May,
Tyrone May,
Keithroy Marcellus Maynard,
Robert J. Mayo,
Kathy N. Mazza,
Edward Mazzella Jr.,
Jennifer Lynn Mazzata,
Karia Mbaya,
James Joseph McAlery Jr.,
Brian Gerard McAleese,
Patricia Ann McKenney,
Colin R. MacArthur,
John Kevin McAvoy,
Kenneth M. McBrayer,
Brendan F. McCabe,
Michael McCabe,
Thomas Joseph McCann,
Justin McCarthy,
Kevin M. McCarthy,
Michael Desmond McCarthy,
and my father, Charles Joseph Margiotta,
and my mother, Maxima Jean-Pierre. We love you and miss you, and pray that all of you will instill this in your heart. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning.
Not a day goes by where Mommy, Charlie, and I do not think about you. We miss you so much.
You would be so proud of us. Your son, who has accomplished so much and followed in your footsteps to Brown University and excelling in his career. Me, who just married to a cop. I know you're laughing about that. This year I missed you walking me down the aisle. But thankfully I had an amazing escort, my brother, your son. And finally, you would be so incredibly proud of Mommy and how well she has raised us. She is our rock, and I know you're always there for her. Please watch over all your family members, and please say hi to Grandma. Love you always and forever.
Robert G. McCarthy.
Stanley McCaskill.
Katie Marine McCloskey.
Juliana Valentine McCourt.
Ruth Magdalene McCourt.
Charles Austin McCran.
Danielle F. McDay.
Matthew T. McDermott.
Joseph P. McDonald.
Brian Grady McDonald.
Michael P. McDonald.
John F. McDowell Jr.
Eamon J. McAveen.
John Thomas McCurlin Jr.
Daniel Francis McGinley.
Mark Ryan McGinley.
William E. McKean.
Thomas Henry McGinnis.
Michael Gregory McKinsey.
Ann Walsh McGovern.
Scott Morin McGovern.
William J. McGovern.
Stacy Senes McGowan.
Francis Noel McGuinn.
Thomas F. McGinnis Jr.
Patrick J. McGuire.
Thomas M. McGill.
Keith David McAfee.
And M. McHugh.
Dennis J. McHugh III.
Dennis P. McHugh.
Michael Edward McHugh Jr.
Robert G. McElveen.
Donald James McIntyre.
Stephanie Marie McKenna.
Molly L. McKenzie.
Barry J. McKeon.
Evelyn C. McKennedy.
Darrell Laren McKinney.
George Patrick McLaughlin Jr.
And my father, my angel, Manuel Osvaldo Asitimbay. Dad, remembering you, it's easy. I do it every day. But missing you is the sorrow that never goes away. Your sons and Ma, we all miss you very much, Dad. Te extraño, Papa.
And my beloved aunt, Margaret Mary Connor. My aunt was a very bright light in so many lives. She was a loving wife. She was a wonderful mother to her daughter, Corrine, a grandmother to Nicole, a sister to 6 siblings, an aunt to many nieces and nephews. She was a friend, she was a mentor, and she was my angel. But mostly, she was a child of God. I know she watches over all of us. She will be forever missed and forever loved.
Robert C. McLaughlin Jr.
Gavin McMahon.
Robert D. McMahon.
Edmund M. McNally.
Daniel Walker McNeil.
Walter Arthur McNeil.
Christine Sheila McNulty.
Sean Peter McNulty.
Firefighter Robert William McPadden.
Firefighter Terrence A. McShane.
Firefighter Timothy Patrick McSweeney.
Firefighter Martin E. McWilliams.
Rocco A. Medaglia.
Abigail Medina.
Anna Iris Medina.
Damian Meehan.
William J. Meehan Jr.
Alok Kumar Mehta.
Firefighter Raymond Meisenheimer.
Manuel Emilio Mejia.
Escadar Malaku.
Antonio Melendez.
Mary P. Melendez.
Christopher D. Mello.
Yelena Melanchenko.
Stuart Todd Meltzer,
Diaurelia Giovanna Mena,
Dora Marie Michanka,
Firefighter Charles R. Mendez,
Lisette Mendoza,
Siobhan Alicia Mentis,
Wolfgang Peter Menzel,
Firefighter Steve John Mercado,
Wilfredo Mercado,
Wesley Mercer,
Ralph Joseph Mercurio,
Alan Harvey Merdinger,
George L. Marino,
Yamel Josephina Marino,
George Mercurius,
and my uncle, Lieutenant Kenneth Fallon, Sr., FDNY, Engine 217. It's been 14 years, Uncle Kenny, if we have missed you every day. We miss your smile, your laughter, your love, and your friendship. Most of all, the sound of your voice. This day never gets easier, no matter how much time has passed, because it just reminds us how much we miss you and all that you have missed out on. We know you are watching down over us, and you will always be remembered as the angel and true hero you truly are. I am honored and proud to be your niece. I love you and miss you. God bless you, Uncle Kenny, and God bless America.
and my beautiful cousin, Marina Romanovna Gertzberg. You have made such an impression in my life and continue to be an important part of it. I miss you so very much.
Deborah Merrick,
Raymond Joseph Metz III,
Jill Ann Metzler,
David Robert Meyer,
Nurul H. Maya,
William Edward Michiuli,
Martin Paul Michelstein,
Patricia E. Mickley,
Ronald D. Milam,
Peter Teague Milano,
Gregory Milanowitz,
Lukasz Tomasz Maleski,
Sharon Christina Milan,
Corey Peter Miller,
Craig J. Miller,
Douglas C. Miller,
Henry Alfred Miller, Jr.,
Joel Miller,
Michael Matthew Miller,
Nicole Carol Miller,
Philip D. Miller,
Robert Allen Miller,
Robert Cromwell Miller, Jr.,
Benny Millman,
Charles M. Mills, Jr.,
Ronald Keith Milstein,
Robert J. Manara,
William George Minardi,
Louis Joseph Minervino,
Thomas Mingione,
Wilbert Morale,
Dominic N. Merkovich,
Rajesh Arjan Merpuri,
Joseph D. Mistruli,
Susan J. Miskowitz,
Paul Thomas Mitchell,
Richard P. Miusio,
Jeffrey Peter Ledenick,
Frank V. Mokia Sr.,
Louis Joseph Modaferry,
and our cousin Mark Joseph Ellis, police officer. You are loved and missed.
and my cousin Monique Effie de Jesus.
Boy Muhammad,
Dennis Mojica,
Manuel D. Mojica Jr.,
Claybear Rolando Molina,
Manuel de Jesus Molina,
Carl Molinaro,
Justin John Malasani Jr.,
Brian Patrick Monaghan,
Franklin Monahan,
John Gerard Monahan,
Kristen Lee Montanero,
Craig Montano,
Michael G. Montesi,
Carlos Alberto Montoya,
Antonio de Jesus Montoya Valdez,
Cheryl Ann Munyak,
Thomas Carlo Moody,
Sharon Moore,
Krishna V. Morthy,
Laura Lee DeFazio Morabito,
Abner Morales,
Carlos Manuel Morales.
Paula E. Morales.
Sonia Mercedes Morales Puplo.
Gerard P. Moran Jr.
John Christopher Moran.
John Michael Moran.
Kathleen Moran.
Lindsay Stapleton Morehouse.
George William Morell.
Stephen P. Morello.
Vincent S. Morello.
Yvette Nicole Moreno.
Dorothy Morgan.
Richard J. Morgan.
Nancy Morgenstern.
Sene More.
Blanca Robertina Morocho Morocho.
Lionel Geronimo Morocho Morocho.
Dennis Gerard Maroney.
And my cousin, FDNY firefighter, Michael T. Carroll. Love you, and I love you, love you, love you. Love never dies.
And my son, Ryan Daniel Fitzgerald. Guy, as then, so as now. We continue to love you and miss you so very, very much. God bless our troops. God bless our first responders. God bless New York City, and God bless America.
Lynn Irene Morris.
Odessa V. Morris.
Seth Allen Morris.
Steve Morris.
Christopher Martell Morrison.
Ferdinand V. Marone.
William David Moskal.
Ryan A. Moss.
Marco Matroni.
Cynthia Modis Wilson.
Yuri A. Muchinsky.
Jude Joseph Musa.
Peter Mutos.
Damian O'Neill Mowat.
Teddington H. Moy.
Christopher Michael Mozillo.
Stephen Vincent Muldery.
Richard T. Muldowney Jr.
Michael D. Mullen.
Dennis Michael Mulligan.
Peter James Mulligan.
Michael Joseph Mullen.
James Donald Munhall.
Nancy Muniz.
Francisco Haladio Munez.
Carlos Mario Munoz.
Teresa Munson.
Robert Michael Maroc.
Cesar Augusto Murillo.
Mark A. Marolo.
Brian Joseph Murphy.
Charles Anthony Murphy.
Christopher W. Murphy.
Edward Charles Murphy.
James F. Murphy IV.
James Thomas Murphy.
Kevin James Murphy.
Patrick Jude Murphy.
Patrick Sean Murphy.
Raymond E. Murphy.
And my uncle, Michael Cameron Lynch, loving husband, brother, father, and son. You'd be so proud of how big your daughter Caroline has gotten, and your nephew Paul, and your niece Cassidy. And like my mother always says, for all the 9/11, people who passed away in 9/11, you're not a victim, you're considered a hero. We love and miss you every day.
And my grandfather, Michael Sam Phillip, who I sadly missed meeting by only 3 months, but feel special being named after.
Robert Eddie Murphy Jr.
John Joseph Murray.
John Joseph Murray.
Susan D. Murray.
Valerie Victoria Murray.
Richard Todd Myrie.
Louis J. Nackey II.
Robert B. Nagel.
Mildred Rose Naaman,
Takuya Nakamura,
Alexander John Robert Napier,
Frank Joseph Naples III,
John Philip Napolitano,
Catherine Ann Nardella,
Mario Nardone Jr.,
Monica K. Narula,
Sean M. Nasane,
Narinder Nath,
Karen Susan Navarro,
Joseph M. Navis,
Francis Joseph Nazario,
Glenroy I. Neblett,
Raymond Marcus Neblett,
Jerome O. Ned,
Lawrence F. Nadell,
Luke G. Nee,
Pete Negron,
Lori Ann Nara,
Ann N. Nelson,
David William Nelson,
Ginger Risco Nelson,
James A. Nelson,
Michelle Ann Nelson,
Peter Allen Nelson,
Oscar Francis Nesbitt,
Gerard Terrence Nevins,
Renee Tetrault Newell,
Christopher C. Newton,
Christopher Newton Carter,
Nancy U.N. Nago,
and my uncle, Peter Keith Ortali. The entire family misses you, Peter, and I wish deeply that I could have known you better, but you still inspire me through the incredible life stories I've heard about you. May you and the rest of the victims rest in peace.
and my aunt, Anne Marie Davy Riccoboni. We love you and we miss you very much. Because we were blessed to know and love you, our lives were truly touched by an angel, and the memories of you will live in our hearts forever. Today is also your birthday. Happy birthday, Aunt Annie. We love you.
Kong Niguk Nagoyan,
Jody Trepadino Nichilo,
Kathleen Ann Nikosha,
Martin Stewart Nider,
Alphonse Joseph Niedermeyer,
Frank John Estat Jr.,
Gloria Nieves,
Juan Nieves Jr.,
Troy Edward Nilsson,
Paul Nibley,
John Valentine Niven,
Catherine McGarry Nowak,
Curtis Terrence Noel,
Michael A. Note,
Daniel R. Nolan,
Robert Walter Noonan,
Jacqueline June Norton,
Robert Grant Norton,
Daniela Rosalia Notaro,
Brian Christopher Novotny,
Sochi Numata,
Brian Nunez,
Jose Nunez,
Jeffrey Roger Nussbaum,
James A. Oakley,
Dennis Patrick Oberg,
James P. O'Brien, Jr.,
Michael P. O'Brien,
Scott J. O'Brien,
Timothy Michael O'Brien,
Daniel O'Callahan,
Dennis James O'Connor Jr.,
Diana J. O'Connor,
Keith Kevin O'Connor,
Richard J. O'Connor,
Amy O'Doherty,
Marnie Pont O'Doherty,
Douglas E. Elschneiger,
Takashi Ogawa,
Albert Ogletree,
and my godfather and uncle, Richard Samuel Gabriel. Your spirit lives on and all the good that still occurs in this world. You'll never be forgotten. And thank you so much to all the first responders, including those who died trying to save his life on the 78th floor of the South Tower. Thank you for all you do.
and for my cousin, Port Authority Police Officer Christopher Charles Amoroso. Chris, there's not a day that goes by that we don't miss you and think about you. You're in our hearts forever. Keep looking over us. And God bless you. God bless everyone. Thank you.
Philip Paul Ognavine.
John A. Ogonowski.
James Andrew O'Grady.
Joseph J. Ogren.
Thomas G. O'Hagan.
Samuel Ortiz.
Patrick J. O'Keefe.
William O'Keefe.
Gerald Michael Alcott.
Gerald Thomas O'Leary.
Christine Ann Allender.
Linda Mary Oliva.
Edward K. Oliver.
Leah Elizabeth Oliver.
Eric Taub Olson.
Jeffrey James Olson.
Barbara K. Olson.
Maureen Lyons Olson.
Stephen John Olson.
Matthew Timothy O'Mahony.
Toshihira Ada.
Seamus L. O'Neill.
John P. O'Neill.
Peter J. O'Neill Jr.
Sean Gordon Corbett O'Neill.
Betty Ann Ong.
Michael C. Opperman.
Christopher T. Orgilowicz.
Margaret Gwen Orlowski.
Virginia Ann Ormiston.
Ruben S. Ornado.
Kevin M. O'Rourke.
Ronald Orsini.
Peter Keith Ortali.
Juan Ortega Campos.
Jane Marie Orth.
Alexander Ortiz.
David Ortiz.
Emilio Pete Ortiz.
Pablo Ortiz.
And my brother, Christopher Samuel Epps. Your family and I miss you very deeply. Words cannot express the sadness that we feel in our hearts of your loss. Our lives will never be the same because you're not there to be a part of it. My prayer today that each and every one of us will come together and love one another so that this horrific day and the lives that were lost this day will not be in vain. Love thy neighbor as thyself and be blessed.
And my father, Norberto Hernandez, we love you and we miss you.
Paul Ortiz Jr.
Sonia Ortiz.
Masaru Oze.
Patrick J. O'Shea.
Robert William O'Shea.
Elsie Carolina Osario Oliva.
James R. Ostrowski.
Timothy Franklin O'Sullivan.
Jason Douglas Oswald.
Michael John Otten.
Isidro D. Ottenwalder.
Michael Shung U.
Todd Joseph Oida.
Jesus Ovales.
Peter J. Owens Jr.
Adianis Oiola.
Angel M. Pabon Jr.
Israel Pabon Jr.
Roland Pacheco.
Michael Benjamin Packer.
Diana B. Padro.
Deepa Pakala.
Jeffrey Matthew Palazzo.
Thomas Palazzo.
Richard A. Palazzolo.
Oreo Joseph Palmer.
Frank Anthony Palombo.
Alan N. Palumbo.
Christopher Matthew Panatier.
Dominique Lisa Pandolfo.
Jonas Martin Panic.
Paul J. Pisani,
John M. Paulillo,
Edward Joseph Papa,
Salvatore T. Papasso,
James Nicholas Papa George,
Marie Papalardo,
Vinod Kumar Padakat,
Vijaya Shankar Paramsati,
Nitin Ramash Parakar,
and my father, Arkady Zaltzman, my hero, my light, my shining armor.
and my son, Anthony Tempesta, who we miss every day. I'm sorry. My son, Anthony Tempesta, and we love him very dearly. Thank you.
Hardai Parpu,
James Wendell Parham,
Deborah Marie Paris,
George Paris,
Ki Young Park,
Philip Lacey Parker,
Michael Elaine Parks,
Robert E. Parks Jr.,
Hajmuk C. Pamar,
Robert Paro,
Diane Marie Parsons,
Lebardo Lopez Pascual,
Michael J. Pascuma Jr.,
Gerald Hughes Paskins,
Horace Robert Pastanante,
Suzanne H. Passaro,
Avnish Ramanbai Patel,
Dipti Patel,
Manshi Patel,
Stephen Bennett Patterson,
James Matthew Patrick,
Manuel D. Patricino,
Bernard E. Patterson,
Clifford L. Patterson Jr.,
Sierra Marie Patty,
Robert E. Pattison,
James Robert Paul,
Patrice Paz,
Victor Hugo Paz,
Stacy Lynn Peak,
Richard Allen Perlman,
Darrell V. Pearsall Jr.,
Thomas Nicholas Pecorelli,
Thomas Pedicini,
Todd Douglas Polino,
Mike Adrian Peltier,
Anthony G. Peluso,
Angel R. Penna,
Robert Penninger,
Richard Al Penny,
and my cousin, firefighter Carl Francis Cesaro. We love you, we miss you, and you'll be very proud of how your family has developed in the years without you.
and my grandmother, Arcelia Castillo. Everything I work hard for and strive to be is for you, Mama Gilla, and all that I love. Salvatore F. Pepe,
Carl Allen B. Peralta,
Robert David Peraza,
John A. Perconte Jr.,
Alejo Perez,
Angel Perez Jr.,
Angela Susan Perez,
Anthony Perez,
Ivan Antonio Perez,
Nancy E. Perez,
Barry Berenson Perkins,
Joseph John Peroncino,
Edward J. Perata,
Imelda H. Perry,
Glenn C. Perry Sr.,
John William Perry,
Franklin Allen Pershep,
Danny Pesci,
Michael John Pescherine,
Davin N. Peterson,
Donald Arthur Peterson,
Jean Holdley Peterson,
William Russell Peterson,
Mark James Petruccelli,
Philip Scott Petty,
Glenn Karen Pettit,
Port Authority Police Officer Dominic A. Pizzullo,
Colleen Elizabeth Pizzuti,
Kevin J. Pfeiffer,
Tuan Pham,
Kenneth John Phelan Sr.,
Snea Ann Phillip,
Eugenia McCann
Piantieri,
Ludwig John Picaro,
Matthew Picerno,
Joseph Pick,
Christopher J. Pickford,
Dennis J. Pierce,
Bernard Pietronico,
Nicholas P. Pietrunti,
and my father, Port Authority Police Officer John Dennis Levi, who is forever our hero. We love and miss every day.
and my husband, Brian Joseph Murphy. Brian, it is 14 years later, and we still think about you every day. You live on in your beautiful daughters, Jessica and Layla, who both just started their first year in college a couple of weeks ago. They share your tremendous passion for life, your curiosity about everything, and your sense of adventure. You would be very proud of the young women they have become. We all love you very much and will never forget, and thank you, New York, for remembering.
Theodoros Pigus,
Susan Elizabeth Pinto,
Joseph Piscadlo,
Christopher Todd Pittman,
Joshua Michael Piver,
Robert R. Plager III,
Sandra F. Plager,
Joseph Plumetallo,
John M. Posher,
William Howard Holman,
Lawrence Michael Polich,
Thomas H. Polhamus,
Steve Policino,
Susan M. Polio,
Darren H. Pantel,
Joshua Ayusa Poptine,
Giovanna Porras,
Anthony Portillo,
James Edward Patorti,
Daphne Poletzos,
Richard Poulos,
Stephen Emmanuel Poulos,
Brandon Jerome Powell,
Scott Allen Powell,
Sean Edward Powell,
Antonio Dorsey Pratt,
Gregory M. Preziosi,
Wanda Evelise Prince,
Vincent A. Princiota,
Kevin M. Pryor,
Everett Martin Proctor III,
Carrie Beth Projan,
David Lee Pruitt,
Richard A. Prunty,
John Foster Puckett,
Robert David Pugliese,
Edward F. Pullis,
Patricia Ann Puma,
Jack D. Punches,
Hemant Kumar Putar,
and my mother, Sol E. Colon. We miss you every day. We miss everything about you. I hope that you can see from up above what a wonderful job that our dad has done raising the two of us. We love and miss you so much.
and our son, Todd Douglas Polino, and our daughter-in-law sister, Kayleen Elizabeth Pasuti.
Joseph J. Passior Jr.,
Edward R. Pycon,
Christopher Quackenbush,
Lars Peter Qualvin,
Lincoln Quape,
Beth Ann Quigley,
Patrick J. Quigley IV,
Michael T. Quilty,
James Francis Quinn,
Ricardo J. Quinn,
Carol Millicent Rabelais,
Christopher Peter Anthony Roccanello,
Leonard J. Rigaglia,
Eugene J. Raggio,
Laura Marie Raganese Snick,
Michael Paul Ragusa,
Peter Frank Ramondi,
Harry A. Rains,
Lisa J. Rains,
Etisham Raja,
Valsa Raju,
Edward J. Rawl,
Lucas Rambusic,
Maria Ramirez,
Harry Ramos,
Vishnu Ramashrup,
Deborah A. Ramsauer,
Lorenzo E. Ramsey,
Alfred Todd Rank,
Adam David Rand,
Jonathan C. Randall,
Shreyas S. Ragnatha,
Ann T. Ransom,
Faina Rappaport,
Rhonda Sue Rasmussen,
Robert A. Rasmussen,
Aminia Rasul,
R. Mark Rasweiler,
Martha D. Ratchford,
David Allen James Rathke,
and my brother Aaron Iskandarian Jr. On behalf of the whole family, including my father who passed away last year, who found it difficult to remember this day. However, he never wanted to forget his namesake son. Thank you.
and my father, Edward W. Straub. We are your legacy. We think about you every day, and we look forward to continuing to live our life in your tradition.
William Ralph Rood.
Gerard F. Rousey.
Alicia Razuva.
Gregory Rita.
Sarah Ann Redheffer.
Michelle Marie Reed.
Judith Ann Reese.
Donald J. Regan.
Robert M. Regan.
Thomas Michael Regan.
Kristen Michael Otto Regan Hard.
Howard Reich.
Greg Reedon.
James Brian Riley.
Kevin O'Reilly.
Timothy E. Riley.
Joseph Rena Jr.
Thomas Barnes Reinig.
Frank Bennett Reisman.
Joshua Scott Rice.
Karen Redden.
John Armand Rea.
Richard C. Riscato.
John Thomas Resta.
Syria San Pol Reese.
Martha M. Reski.
David E. Renton.
Todd H. Rubin.
Louis Cardio Rivera Meade.
Eduvigas Reyes Jr.
Bruce Albert Rennie.
John Frederick Rhodes.
Francis Salviato Ricardelli.
Rudolph N. Riccio.
Anne Marie Ricarbone.
David Harlow Rice.
Ellen Mary Rice.
Kenneth Frederick Rice III.
Cecilia E. Richards.
Vernon Allen Richard.
And my brother Harry Ginn, the unsung hero of my life. God bless the United States of America.
And my father, Joseph John Hassan III. Although I was only 3 months old and never really met you, Mom always tells me how I'm exactly like you, and that makes me very proud to be your son. I will always follow in your footsteps. I know you're up there watching over me. We all love and miss you like crazy. God bless you, and God bless America.
Claude Daniel Richards.
Gregory David Richards.
Michael Richards.
Venetia Ornicia Richards.
Jimmy Riches.
Alan J. Richmond.
John M. Rigo.
Frederick Charles Rimley III.
Rose Mary Riso.
Moises N. Rivas.
Joseph R. Ravelli Jr.
Carmen Alicia Rivera.
Isaiah Rivera.
Juan William Rivera.
Linda Evelise Rivera.
David E. Rivers.
Joseph R. Reverso.
Paul V. Riza.
John Frank Rizzo.
Stephen Louis Roach.
Joseph Roberto.
Leo Arthur Roberts.
Michael E. Roberts.
Michael Edward Roberts.
Donald Walter Robertson Jr.
Jeffrey Robinson.
Michelle Lee Jean Robotham.
Donald Arthur Robson.
Antonio A. Rocha.
Raymond James Rocha.
Laura Rockefeller.
John Michael Rodak.
Antonio Jose Rodriguez.
Anthony Rodriguez.
Carmen Milagros Rodriguez.
Gregory E. Rodriguez.
Marsha A. Rodriguez.
Myra Valdez Rodriguez.
Richard Rodriguez.
David Bartolo Rodriguez Vargas.
And to our loving brother, son, nephew, cousin, and friend, firefighter Keith Roy Marcellus Maynard. Thank you for being a hero to our family and to the people of the small island of Montserrat. We love you and miss you every day. Thank you for looking out for your twin brother, Kevin, who's also a firefighter in Houston, Texas. And thank you to our armed services, my partner here who has served for 13 years, And thank you to the firefighters, the police officers, and to all our armed services. God bless you all.
And to my uncle, Louis Anthony Williams, we love you and we miss you. You are the reason that I wear this uniform and stand here today. God bless.
Matthew Rogan.
Jean Desterhan Roger.
Carly Rogers.
Scott William Roner.
Keith Michael Roma.
Joseph M. Ragmanolo.
Ephraim Romero Sr.
Alvin Remoro.
James A. Romito.
Sean Paul Rooney.
Eric Thomas Ropato.
Aida Rosario.
Angela Rosario.
Mark H. Rosen.
Brooke David Rosenbaum.
Linda Rosenbaum.
Cheryl Lynn Rosenbaum.
Lloyd Daniel Rosenberg.
Mark Lewis Rosenberg.
Andrew Ira Rosenboom.
Joshua M. Rosenblum.
Joshua Allen Rosenthal.
Richard David Rosenthal.
Philip Martin Rosenzweig.
Daniel Rossetti.
Richard Barry Ross.
Norman S. Rossinow.
Nicholas P. Rossamando.
Michael Craig Rothberg.
Donna Marie Rothenberg.
Mark David Rothenberg.
James Michael Rue.
Nicholas Charles Alexander Rowe.
Edward V. Rowenhorst.
Judy Rowlett.
Timothy Allen Roy Sr.
Paul G. Ruback.
Ronald J. Rubin.
Joanne Rubino.
David M. Ruddle.
And my father, Leonard J. Snyder, Jr. Daddy, I love you. I feel you with me and guiding me each and every day. You're forever in my heart, and I'm beyond proud to be a part of your legacy.
And my Aunt Margaret. Unfortunately, I never had the chance to meet her, but my middle name is Margaret, just part of the legacy of love and compassion that has lived on through me and my brothers.
Bart Joseph Ruggieri.
Susan A. Ruggiero.
Adam Keith Ruhalter.
Gilbert Ruiz.
Robert E. Russell.
Stephen P. Russell.
Stephen Harris Russin.
Michael Thomas Russo Sr.
Wayne Allen Russo.
William R. Ruth.
Edward Ryan.
John Joseph Ryan.
Jonathan Stephen Ryan.
Matthew L. Ryan.
Tatiana Rojova.
Christina Sunga Ryuk.
Thierry Sada.
Jason Elizar Sabag.
Thomas E. Sabella.
Scott H. Saber.
Charles E. Sabin Sr.
Joseph Francis Sacerdote.
Jessica Lee Sachs.
Francis John Sedosha.
Jude Elias Safi.
Brock Joel Safronov.
Edward Saya.
John Patrick Salomon.
Majori C. Salomon.
Hernando Rafael Salas.
Simmons.
Diane M. Simmons.
Donald D. Simmons.
George W. Simmons.
Arthur Simon.
Kenneth Allen Simon.
And for my beautiful and loving sister, Deborah Ann DiMartino. For my family and everyone who has lost a piece of their hearts, stay strong, always remember, embrace each day. And this is a little saying from someone, Vicki Harrison. She wrote, "Grief is like the ocean. It comes in waves, ebbing and flowing. Sometimes the water is calm, and sometimes it is overwhelming. All we need to do is learn to swim."
And my father, Daniel Francis McGinley. On behalf of Mom, Terrence, Maddie, Ann, Patrick, and myself, we would like to thank all of our aunts, uncles, cousins, and wonderful friends for all the love and support over the years. Dad, you live on through all your 5 kids. We hope to make you proud. Thanks for everything and keep looking out. Cheers and God bless.
Michael J. Simon.
Paul Joseph Simon.
Marianne Lepori Simone.
Barry Simowitz.
Jane Louise Simpkin.
Jeff Lyle Simpson.
Cheryl D. Sincock.
Kamladai Kami Singh.
Roshan Ramesh Singh.
Thomas E. Sinton III.
Peter A. Syracuse.
Muriel F. Siskopoulos.
Joseph Michael Sisolak.
John P. Scala.
Francis Joseph Skidmore, Jr.
Toyena Corliss Skinner.
Paul Albert Skrizipek.
Christopher Paul Slattery.
Vincent Robert Slavin.
Robert F. Sliwak.
Paul Kenneth Sloan.
Firefighter Stanley S. Smagala, Jr.
Wendy L. Small.
Greg H. Smallwood.
Catherine T. Smith.
Daniel Lawrence Smith.
Gary F. Smith.
George Eric Smith.
Heather Lee Smith.
James Gregory Smith.
Jeffrey R. Smith.
Joyce Patricia Smith.
Carl T. Smith, Sr.
Firefighter Kevin Joseph Smith.
Leon Smith, Jr.
Police Officer Maura Ann Smith.
Monica Rodriguez Smith.
Rosemary A. Smith.
Bonnie Shahadeh Smithwick.
Rochelle Monique Snell.
Christine Ann Snyder.
Diane Bullis Snyder.
Leonard J. Snyder, Jr.
Astrid Elizabeth Sohan.
Sushil S. Solanki.
Ruben Solaris.
Naomi Leah Solomon.
Daniel W. Song.
Marie Ray Sopper.
Michael Charles Soresi.
Fabian Sato.
Timothy Patrick Sulas.
Gregory Thomas Spagnoletti.
Donald F. Spampinato, Jr.
Thomas Sparacchio.
John Anthony Spataro.
Robert W. Spear, Jr.
Robert Spiceman.
Maynard S. Spence, Jr.
George Edward Spencer III.
My brother, Richard Avery Arano. Miss you every day. Going to run the New York City Marathon for you this year and to benefit this fine memorial. We love you.
And my brother, Lieutenant Philip Scott Petty, New York City Fire Department, Ladder 12. We love you and miss you every day, Phil. and for you and all the innocent people who were senselessly killed on this site. You will forever be in our prayers, and you will never be forgotten.
Robert Andrew Spencer.
Mary Rubano Spadano.
Frank Spinelli.
William E. Spitz.
Joseph Patrick Spohr Jr.
Klaus Johannes Sprackham.
Saranya Sri Noan.
Fitzroy St. Rose.
Michael F. Stabile.
Lawrence T. Stack.
Timothy M. Stackpole.
Richard James Stadelberger.
Eric Adam Stallman.
Gregory Stike.
Alexandru Liviu Stan.
Karina Stan.
Mary Domenica Stanley.
Anthony Starita.
Firefighter Jeffrey Stark.
Derek James Stakovicius.
Patricia J. Stacks.
Craig William Staub.
William V. Steckman.
Eric Thomas Steen.
William R. Steiner.
Alan Robin Steinman.
Edna L. Stevens.
Andrew Sturgiopoulos.
Andrew J. Stern.
Norma Lang Stworley.
Martha Jane Stevens.
Michael James Stewart.
Richard H. Stewart Jr.
Sanford M. Stoller.
Douglas Joel Stone.
Lonnie J. Stone.
Jimmy Neville Story.
Timothy Stout.
Thomas Strada.
James J. Strain, Jr.
Edward W. Stroud.
George J. Stroud, Jr.
Edward Thomas Strauss.
Stephen R. Strauss.
Larry L. Strickland.
Stephen S. Strober.
Walwyn Wellington Stewart, Jr.
Benjamin Suarez.
David Scott Suarez.
Ramon Suarez.
Dino Xavier Suarez Ramirez.
Yoshi Sumiyama Sugiyama.
William Christopher Sugra.
Daniel Thomas Slor.
David Mark Sullins.
Christopher P. Sullivan.
Patrick Sullivan.
Thomas G. Sullivan.
Hilario Serrano Sumaya Jr.
James Joseph Swazo.
And my brother, Robert Cromwell Miller Jr. We love and miss you, Bobby. This year you are blessed with the birth of your second beautiful grandson, Samuel. And to those special families in Charleston, you set an amazing standard on how to deal with tragedy. Please know that you are in our hearts and in our prayers.
My brother, Robert R. Husse. Bob, your family and my family miss you terribly. I never told you this, that you were the wind beneath my wings, and you were my hero. I love you, I miss you, and I'll never, ever forget you.
Colleen M. Sapinski. Robert Sutcliffe. Celine Sutter. Claudia Suzette Sutton. John Francis Swain. Christine M. Swearson. Brian David Sweeney. Brian Edward Sweeney. Madeline Amy Sweeney. Kenneth J. Swenson. Thomas F. Swift. Derek Ogilvy Sword. Kevin Thomas Sozik. Gina Steinberg. Norbert P. Shurkovsky. Harry Tebeck. Joanne C. Tabik.
Norma C. Tadai.
Michael Tadonio.
Karashiro Takahashi.
Keiji Takahashi.
Phyllis Gail Talbot.
Robert R. Talhami.
John Tagagnoni.
Sean Patrick Talon.
Paul Tolte.
Morita Tam.
Rachel Tamaras.
Hector Rogan Tamayo.
Michael Andrew Tamuccio.
Kenishiro Tanaka.
Rondell Sherry Tankard.
Michael Anthony Tanner.
Dennis Gerard Taramina Jr.
Kenneth Joseph Tarantino.
Alan Tarasewish.
Michael C. Taru.
Ronald Tartaro.
Deborah Tavalarella.
Daryl Anthony Taylor.
Donnie Brooks Taylor.
Hilda E. Taylor.
Kip P. Taylor.
Leonard E. Taylor.
Larissa Salon Taylor.
Michael Morgan Taylor.
Sandra C. Taylor.
Sandra Dawn Teague.
Carl W. Teepee.
Paul A. Tegmeyer.
Yeshvant Morshwar Tembe.
Anthony Tempesta.
Dorothy Pearl Temple.
Stanley L. Temple.
David Gustav Peter Tengelin.
Brian John Terenzi.
Lisa Marie Terry.
Gumate Thackerdine.
Hershad Sham Tate.
Michael Theodoritis.
And my brother, Michael Joseph Zinzi.
And my sister, Catherine McGarry Nowak. Katie, your beautiful smile and spirit remains with us and in us. God bless.
Thomas F. Torkov Jr.
Leslie Ann Thomas.
Brian Thomas Thompson.
Clyde Ian Thompson.
Glenn Thompson.
Nigel Bruce Thompson.
Perry A. Thompson.
Favana Alexia Thomas.
William A. Thompson.
Eric Raymond Thorpe.
Nicola Angela Thorpe.
Tamara C. Thurman.
Sal Edward Thierry Jr.
John Patrick Tierney.
Mary Ellen Tiesi.
William Randolph Testy.
Kenneth Tit Jen.
Stephen Edward Ty.
Scott Charles Stevens.
Michael E. Tinley.
Jennifer M. Tino.
Robert Frank Trapaldi.
John James Tippin II.
David Tritado.
Héctor Luis Tirado Jr.
Michelle Lee Tortolo.
Alicia Nicole Tyros.
John J. Tobin.
Richard J. Todisco.
Otis V. Toblet.
Vladimir Tomasevich.
Stephen Kevin Thompson.
Thomas Tong.
Doris Torres.
Luis Eduardo Torres.
Amy Elizabeth Toyen.
Christopher Michael Trainer,
Daniel Patrick Trent,
Abdul Karim Traore,
Glenn J. Travis Sr.,
Walter Phyllis Travers,
Felisa Yvette Taylor Bass,
James Anthony Trentini,
Mary Barbara Trentini,
Lisa L. Trerotola,
Kamamo Baba Terra,
Michael Angel Trinidad,
Francis Joseph Trambino,
Gregory James Trost,
Willie Q. Troy,
William P. Sleepy Jr.,
Janetta Valentinova Soy,
Michael Patrick Tucker,
Lance Richard Tumali,
Ching Ping Tong,
Simon James Turner,
Donald Joseph Tuccio,
Robert T. Torme,
Jennifer Lynn Semis,
J.G. Uglafa,
and my nephew, Wilder Alfredo Gomez. We all miss you, all your family. I remember the happy time we passed. I love you, Chinito. Your mom say love you.
and to my son Paul, who we love and miss so much. But no, Paul, you're in the safest place you could ever be, and that's right here in Mommy's heart. We love you, and we miss you dearly.
Tyler Victor Ugolin.
Michael A. Juliana.
Jonathan J. Uman.
Anil Shari Umarka.
Alan V. Upton.
Diane Marie Urban.
John Damian Boccaccio.
Bradley Hodges Vadas.
William Valcarcel.
Felix Antonio Val.
Ivan Vale.
Benito Valentin.
Santos Valentin Jr.
Carlton Francis Bavo II.
Pendiala Vam Sukrishna.
Erica H. Van Acker.
Kenneth W. Van Auken.
R. Bruce Van Hine.
Daniel M. Van Laer.
Edward Raymond Vanacore.
John Charles Vandavander.
Frederick T. Vecchio.
Gopalakrishnan Varadhan.
David Vargas.
Scott C. Vassell.
Aziel Michiel Vassakar.
Ronald J. Voke.
Archangel Vasquez.
Santos Vasquez.
Peter Vega.
Sankara Sastry Valamore.
Jorge Velasquez.
Lawrence G. Velling.
Anthony Mark Ventura.
David Vera.
Loretta Ann Vero.
Christopher James Villalonga.
Matthew Gilbert Viana.
Robert Anthony Vicario.
Celeste Torres Victoria.
Joanna Vidal.
John T. Vigiano II.
Joseph Vincent Vigiano.
Frank J. Vignolo Jr.
Joseph Barry Villardo.
Clarabelle Villalobos Hernandez.
Sergio Gabriel Villanueva.
Chantel Vincelli.
Melissa Renee Vincent.
Francine Ann Virgilio.
Lawrence Virgilio.
Joseph Gerard Viziano.
Joshua S. Vitale.
Maria Percoco Vala,
Lynette D. Vosky,
Garo H. Basikaram,
Alfred Anton Vacosa,
Gregory Kalmar Bruno Waltra,
Karen J. Wagner,
Mary Alice Wallstrom,
and my sister, Catherine Patricia Salter. Sister also to Tim, Cindy, Linda, and Mary. Mom is doing good, but this is the first year that she could not make the trip to Ground Zero. She's attending a memorial in your honor in our hometown of Wellsville, Ohio. We miss you, we love you, and we will never forget.
and my cousin Gregory Milanowitz. We love you. We miss you. You're forever in our hearts.
Anna Elizabeth Wanio.
Gabriella Silvina Waisman.
Wendy Alice Rosario Wakeford.
Courtney Wainsworth Walcott.
Victor Wald.
Kenneth E. Waldy.
Benjamin James Walker.
Glenn Wall.
Mitchell Scott Wallace.
Peter Guider Wallace.
Robert Francis Wallace.
Roy Michael Wallace.
Jean Marie Wallendorf.
Matthew Blake Wallens.
Meta L. Walla.
John Wallace Jr.
Barbara P. Walsh.
Jim Walsh.
Jeffrey P. Walls.
Xing Wang.
Weibin Wang.
Michael Warchola.
Stephen Gordon Ward.
Timothy Ray Ward.
James A. Waring.
Brian G. Warner.
Derek Christopher Washington.
Charles Waters.
James Thomas Waters Jr.
Patrick J. Waters.
Kenneth Thomas Watson.
Michael Henry Way.
Todd Christopher Weaver.
Walter Edward Weaver.
Nathaniel Webb.
Diana Webster.
William Michael Weems.
Joanne Flora Weil.
Michael T. Weinberg.
Stephen Weinberg.
Scott Jeffrey Weingard.
Stephen George Weinstein.
Simon Weiser.
David M. Weiss.
David Thomas Weiss.
Chin Sunpak Wells.
Vincent Michael Wells.
Deborah Jacobs Welsh.
Timothy Matthew Wetley.
Christian Hans Rudolph Wemmers.
Sue Hu Wen.
John Joseph Wenkis.
Ole D. Wengenchuk.
Peter M. West.
Whitfield West Jr.
Meredith Lynn Whalen.
Eugene Michael Wellen.
Adam S. White.
Edward James White III.
James Patrick White.
And my mother, Muriel Siskopoulos. It's been 14 years, but for all of us here, it could be 100 years. It'll still feel like yesterday, and it's fresh in our hearts. God bless.
And my husband, Michael Massaroli, thank you for loving me and for continuing to watch over Michael and Angelina. And I miss you more than words can say. Love you.
John Sylvester White.
Kenneth Wilburn White, Jr.
Leonard Anthony White.
Melissa Y. White.
Malden A. White.
Sandra L. White.
Wayne White.
Leanne Marie Whiteside.
Mark P. Whitford.
Leslie A. Whittington.
Michael T. Holy.
Mary Lenz Wyman.
Jeffrey David Weiner.
William J. Wick.
Allison Marie Wildman.
Glenn E. Wilkinson.
Brian Patrick William.
John Charles Willett.
Ernest M. Wiltshire.
Candace Lee Williams.
Crossley Richard Williams Jr.
David J. Williams.
David Lucian Williams.
Debbie L. Williams.
Dwayne Williams.
Kevin Michael Williams.
Louis Anthony Williams.
Louis Calvin Williams III.
John P. Williamson.
Donna Ann Wilson.
William Eben Wilson.
David Harold Winton.
Glenn J. Winnick.
Thomas Francis Wise.
Alan L. Wilsinski.
Frank Paul Wisniewski.
David Westfall.
Sigrid Charlotte Wiswick.
Michael R. Wittenstein.
Christopher W. Wodencheck.
Martin Philip Worthforth.
Catherine Susan Wolf.
Jennifer Yi Wang.
Suchung Steve Wong.
Ying Ping Wang.
Yuk Ping Wong.
Brent James Woodall.
James John Woods.
Marvin Rogers Woods.
Patrick J. Woods.
Richard Heron Woodwell.
David Terrence Woolley.
John Bentley Works.
Martin Michael Wortley.
Rodney James Woodhun.
William Wren, retired.
John W. Wright Jr.
Neil Robin Wright.
Sandra Lee Wright.
Jupiter Yambem.
And my sister Abigail Medina, which we have the hope of meeting up with her once again, and we miss you. And Abby, your granddaughter looks just like you.
Local 1 IUEC hero, Chuck Costello, and one of my many guardian angels, my beautiful aunt, Lucille Teresa King.
John D. Yamnicki Sr.
Suresh Yanamadala.
Vicky Yancey.
Shuyin Yang.
Matthew David Yarnell.
Myrna Yaskulka.
Shakila Yasmin.
Olabisi Shady Liani Yi.
Kevin W. Yoakum.
Edward P. York.
Kevin Patrick York.
Raymond R. York.
Suzanne Martha Humans.
Barrington Leroy Young Jr.
Donald MacArthur Young.
Edmund G. Young Jr.
Jacqueline Young.
Lisa L. Young.
Elkin Yuen.
Joseph C. Zakoli.
Adele Agabi Zakari.
Arkady Zaltzman.
Edwin J. Zambrana Jr.
Robert Allen Zampieri.
Mark Zangrilli.
Christopher R. Zarba Jr.
Ira Zaslow.
Kenneth Albert Zellman.
Abraham J. Zelmanowitz.
Martin Morales Zempowal Tecatl.
Jay Zeng.
Mark Scott Zeppelin.
Ji Yao Justin Zhao.
Yu Guang Zhang.
Evelyn Zeminski.
Michael Joseph Zinzi.
Charles Allen Zion.
Julie Lynn Zipper.
Salvatore J. Zissa.
Prokopios Paul Zois.
Joseph J. Zukala.
Andrew Stephen Zucker.
Igor Zuckelman. And my brother, Peter Ortali, your life, your love, and your spirit inspires us every day. For everyone who is impacted that day, we will never need to be reminded to remember. We will never forget.
And my brother, Michael Tedonio, who continues to be our guiding light. You'd be very happy the way that our 6 children have come out. Danielle, Nicole, Sam, Marco, Michael, Tess, We're very proud of them. I'm sure you would be too. Every day, you help us get through difficult times. We think of you, love you. Never forget.
David Gregory Arche.
Carl John Bedigan.
Douglas McMillan Cherry.
Dorothy J. Charcharo.
Mohammed Salahuddin Chowdhury.
Nestor Andre Cintron III.
Juan Pablo Cisneros.
Scott Thomas Coleman.
Susan P. Conlon.
Vincent Gerard Damadeo.
James V. de Blase Jr.
Christopher Moore Dincuff.
Rena Sam Dinu.
Thomas James Farino.
Nancy C. Dolazicki Farley.
John Gerard Farrell.
Joseph D. Farelli.
Thomas Patrick Farelli.
William M. Feehan.
Rosa Maria Feliciano.
Stephen J. Fiorelli.
Kevin J. Frawley.
Irvin Vincent Gaillard.
Vincent Gallucci.
Stephen Ian Goldstein.
Ramon B. Grijalvo.
Philip Hensler.
Brian Hennessy.
Paul Rexford Hughes.
Susan Huey.
Richard John Kelly Jr.
Thomas W. Kelly.
Thomas Patrick Knox.
Deborah A. Kobus.
Gary Edward Kokler.
Dennis Francis Lavelle.
Adam J. Lewis.
Michael William Lomax.
Robert Thomas Linné.
Louise Neal Mariani.
Laura A. Marchese.
Eileen Mary Rice.
Bruce Albert Reynolds.
Thomas F. Thurcroft Jr.
John Talagnani.
Karamo Baba Terra.
David Tirado.
Frederick T. Varici.
John G. Bultzhofer.
Azel Ismael Vasquez.
Garo H. Vuskarigian. Gregory Kamal Bruno Wachtler. Victor Wald. Thomas F. Faircoff Jr. And my brother.
And my uncle.
Christopher Quackenbush. Miss you, bro.
Darlene, this is the continuation of the Tortilla Coast gambit that we discussed yesterday. Like many decisions that are made probably on a Tuesday night at Tortilla Coast, they seem like a great idea after a couple of margaritas, but when faced with the scrutiny of the light of day, they don't seem quite as realistic. I would note this is the same location where Republicans cooked up the plan to shut down the government 2 years ago. So